as the referee blows the whistle, and we are underway then. Salford City against Leyton Orient in the FA Cup second round, as the ball goes out of play from kickoff immediately for a throw into Salford in their left back position. Let's run you through the teams then. So the Amis, Carl Robinson makes 2 changes from last week's win against Crawley. Callum Cisse and Josh Osterfield start in place of Cole Stockton and Matt Butcher, who moved to the bench. So it's Young in goals, back 3 of Turton, Olowu and Garbutt. Then Grant, Osterfield and Mai, Harris wide left, Minogo wide right, and then Udo and Cisse up top. As for Orient, they're unchanged from their 4-0 thrashing of Burton last Saturday. So they're Cahill then in goals, Craig, Beckles, Happy and Simpson at the back, Clare and Abdullahi in midfield, O'Neill wide right, Connolly wide left, Wellens, son of Richie, behind their goal scorer Ballard, who leads the line then. So we are here, a couple of minutes played in the FA Cup second round, 0-0, ball out of play on the far side, the right, as Leyton Orient look to attack. Liam, FA Cup, key memories for you. How have your experience has been in this competition?
Well, we spoke about it, didn't we? And listen, the one memory that I do get is obviously we played West Ham for Stockport County in the third round, and obviously we lost to a late Craig Dawson header with Declan Rice on the pitch that day. But I allude to what Luke Garbutt spoke about again.
As Salford start to break forward then down their left hand side, bombing forward towards the edge of the box, just about keeps it and tries to play across to Kelly and Mai. It's Osterfield then 30 yards out from goal to his left sided defender Luke Garbutt. Breaking through there, almost Salford City with an early half chance, but they couldn't quite find that final pass into the middle and into the on-rushing players. They've got it on the halfway line instead, just in front of the dugouts. Clipped heels on George Grant by Orient, and it is a free kick then for Salford, just to the right of the halfway line, and they've got it in there. Harris trying to go darts down the line by the right hand corner, flagged as well, wins his side a throw-in as they start to march up the line. Salford in the early exchanges of the FA Cup second round. Salford 0, Leyton Orient 0, and Salford attacking. The travelling Orient fans tucked away on that right hand side behind the goals. It's going to be a long throw-in by Minoga. As Carl Robinson stands outside his technical area. Here comes Minoga, launches the ball into the box. It's headed just up in the air though, not clear by Orient, and instead they try to take it down to the right hand corner flag, being hassled and hurried by Minoga, who gives his side away a throw-in to Orient. So 0-0 then, early exchange, but a brief kind of flash there of the counter-attack and play that Salford have got, Liam.
Yeah, and the individual possession that players can have, the way that they can control the ball, dribble at players, take players on. He just gets to a point where he cuts back, does Kadeem Harris, plays the ball across the box, and it was cut out. But these will be the areas that Salford will be looking to try and get at Leyton Orient, in those wide areas with those types of players who've got the capability to go past players, get crosses in the box and sort of flood the action of Leyton Orient's box.
Yeah, they've got lots of pace in this side, haven't they, Salford? As a long throw-in comes in, headed away by Olowu. Commanding presence at the back, getting his chance since coming up from Barnet and joining the club. Part of that back three alongside the experience of Turton to his right and Garbutt to his left. We thought that Callum Cisse might push up alongside Dan Udo. What do you think of that in terms of an attacking threat, Liam, for Salford?
Yeah, I just think that's another extra body that's going to be in that midfield of like a physical presence that can get about the pitch and sort of do the horrible stuff and get the ball back, and in a game that could go back to front quite quickly. Like I said, he can be somebody that can make the ball stick, and then you've got the play of Mai and Udo in front, who's a little bit sharp, they're sharpening around the feet, trying to get Beckles and Happ to sort of draw out of their position so they can try and get in behind Leyton Orient.
Yeah, pace for Salford. 0-0 then, early exchanges of this game. Still trying to work down the line of Salford on their right-hand side, throwing given to the O's, who come into this game following 4-0 win against Burton last weekend. They're sitting 4 points outside the League One playoffs. So Richie Wellens' side beating Tamworth 1-0 in the first round to reach this stage. As Orient hear the ball up into the air from Simpson, takes a bounce, takes a tussle in the scrappy midfield on the halfway line, right in front of Richie Wellens in the technical area. And it's Connolly and Mai snapping at the heels, but it's cleared downfield, and it's the racing of Ballard, who's flagged offsides. Alowu shadowing him as well, and it'll be a free kick midway inside their own half then for Salford City, to be taken by goalkeeper Young, on loan last season from Sunderland. Still here, 3 clean sheets so far this season. Are you surprised that he's in goal in terms of Mark Howard's, of course, joined from Wrexham for this season, Liam? He has been their cup goalkeeper, but Carl Robinson's gone with Young.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he sees something that he probably sees in training, where probably the back three that are in front of him feel comfortable around him, trying to keep it more secure in that type of sort of facility, and not making too many changes. Obviously Mark will play a vital role in his experience to hand down to Young, and obviously step in when he needs to step in. And I think it's a good opportunity, like you say, if you're going to raise a profile of a group and a team, then give these types of lads the opportunity to go and play in the biggest competitions.
Yeah, Mark Howard over 400 career appearances as Minoga gets the ball from Mai, tries to clip it forward into the box. Kelly and Mai, defender comes out to clear it behind for the first corner kick of the game. 5 minutes played, Salford 0, Leyton Orient 0. An example there, Liam, of that back to front play by Salford straight away.
Yeah, and they're rested on the last line, Kelly and Mai and Udo, and they're just going to try and obviously ask questions of Beckles and Happ, and on turnovers try and get it into those types of players. With obviously Cisse trying to make the numbers in the box, and they're going to have an opportunity now to try and flood the box with a set piece, which should be on point because it's from Luke. Yeah, absolutely. Captain Luke Garbett stands over it. It's the right corner flag, left-footed, so it'll be an in-swinger then onto Killian Cahill's goal. He stands there all in purple, the Leyton Orient's goalkeeper. Are bouncing on his line, 2 arms raised up in the air. Lots of players then in that 6-yard box as the corner kick comes in. 6 minutes played, goalless. It's into the middle. It's headed away though by Orient, and then Mai goes for the volley 25 yards out. It was dipping. It was blocked though by Orient, but just for a moment the bodies almost didn't get in the way, and it could have snuck on target. As it is though, Alowu's got it at the back, and now with George Grants, number 8 on his back, plays it to Kadeem Harris, who darts inside from the left-hand flank, dangerous, right-footed, tries to slide the ball across into the box, but it's blocked by the Orient defence, and they go through the clearance, and it's going to be Cisse who comes back and does his defensive duties and lays it to Matty Young. 0-0. BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sounds in a fiercely and heated opening to this game. And now maybe Orient will look to slow things down, possibly, as Craig has it in the right back position for them, exchanges passes with Sean Clare, but it's Salford who win the ball back. Udo goes down under a challenge just outside the Leyton Orient penalty box, but it's waved away by the referee and is out for a throw in to the Yammies just inside their own half in their left back position as Luke Garbett looks to take it, Liam. Yeah, I think that's exactly why Callum Cisse has been sort of introduced into this type of game. We see him trying to play catch up on a forward ball to play in behind, obviously in Mai and Udo, and then 2 minutes later he's tracking back to mop stuff up in his own defensive half. Yeah, 23 years old. We spoke about his box-to-box capability in the build-up on Total Sport. He started this really well, full of confidence. So too in Mai and Minoga, who exchanging passes. The ball, though, just gets out of Osterfield's grip and goes out for a throw-in to Leyton Orient. Richie Wellens standing in the technical area. Back here, had a brief 4-month spell at Salford in the COVID-affected season. I know that he doesn't look back too fondly on it because it was such difficult times. As Orient give the ball away from the throw-in, and Minoga tries to slide the ball to the left-hand side. Instead, it takes a deflection and just bounces a little bit awkwardly for the goalkeeper, Killian Cahill, who does eventually collect it and will go for his goal kick. Just coming up to 9 minutes played. Salford 0, Orient 0, and Orient really, Liam, has spent most of the time
in their own half, and that goal kick needlessly given away by Cahill all the way out the other pitch goes straight to Matty Young.
Yeah, and obviously Carl will be absolutely delighted, Carl Robinson, in the way they've started. Like we spoke about, the energy, getting in the Leyton Orient spaces, forcing them to play long, and in this condition at the minute, the wind's obviously from one end to the other, it's just making the ball go straight through to the Salford end where they can mop stuff up quite easily. And obviously they haven't been able to get their game going just yet, and it's exactly what Carl Robinson probably would have G'd up in the dressing room to get that out of the team, to start early and start bright.
Goal kick then goes long from Matty Young, flicked header by Minoga, but it's only cleared by the O's, and it comes all the way back to Young this time, who clears down looking for the pace of Udo, who's bustling and battling and goes down under the challenge again just outside the box. He's already been a real threat so far for Salford in these opening 10 minutes. 0-0 between them and Leyton Orient. In fact, he wins his side a corner kick on the left hand side in front of the Leyton Orient fans, and they take it short to Salford. Garbett, Harris, right-footed, clips the ball into the box, can't beat the first man though, and it's cleared, but only so far as George Grant, who's got time to play it to his left-hand side. And Harris, lovely ball through from Garbett to Harris, left-hand side, cuts in field, goes down on the challenge, he's clipped his heels and wins his side a free kick in a dangerous position just to the left of the penalty box for Salford 0, Leyton Orient 0. Yeah,
great space to put obviously a ball in, and knowing Luke as well, it could be on the goalkeeper quite early doors and test him. He's already fumbled one a little bit, so why not ask a question of him again, just sort of in that channel in between the defence and the goalkeeper. But like I just mentioned there, the pressure so far that Salford have put on, there's been 3 or 4 actions from Salford players that have got a rise out of the crowd already and got them on side, and you can feel the atmosphere really help supporting Salford.
You certainly can. Live on Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sound. Salford then have this free kick to the left of the penalty box. Bit further out than I first thought, a bit closer to the touchline in fact, but it will be Luke Garbett with that wand of a left foot to send it in to the box. Olowu is up from the back. Minoga is lurking out the back post. Chance for Salford then to put pressure with 11 minutes played here in the FA Cup second round. It's Garbett who goes for the free kick, heads across the box, only comes out so far as Osterfield, who tried to stab it through a body of players, and it was blocked, and Orient will bring it out on their left hand side and win a throw in from Minoga with the foul. As they look to, I don't know really, kind of, Liam, get a foot in the game really, Orient here, and kind of just calm things down a little bit.
Yeah, obviously in games of football there are spells of momentum, and Salford are quite clearly got the momentum at the minute, and it's just a case of now using the experience in the Leyton Orient team, the quality that they've got, to try and settle it a little bit and just maybe blunt what Salford sort of momentum are doing to them, trying to have a bit more of a spell on the ball, but at the minute they're just trying to lash at clearances. They're getting closed down quite quickly, they're not having any time on the ball whatsoever, and Salford are managing to find a little bits of quality.
Yep, haven't seen anything yet so far from Ollie O'Neill, their right winger, who signed a new contract this season with the club until the end of 2028. Richie Wellens gave him the accolade upon that contract being announced as the best winger in League One, the former Fulham youth player. Yet to get any time on the ball at all as a throw-in just in front of us here at the Peninsula Stadium, taken by Ollie Turton, who goes down the line, but the ball just bounces out of play right on the halfway line in front of the technical area, in front of Carl Robinson, and it'll be a throw-in to Leyton Orient. 0-0 between these two on Total Sport, 13 minutes played. Wellens barking out instructions to his back line as Enmai tries to close down Dan Happ. Instead he plays it back to his goalkeeper Cahill, and they're keeping it across the back line are Leyton Orient, as we just mentioned. They're trying to get a bit of a foothold in the game, trying to have a little bit of possession here are the London side, but they're not doing anything with it yet at the moment, as Salford pressing and harrying them. And in fact, Simpson goes down the line looking for Connolly, and Minogu challenging, and it's out for a throw-in to Orient. Midway inside the Salford City half, to be taken by Simpson. On this cold evening here in Greater Manchester on Total Sports, the rain has stopped for now, and the yellow boots at the back for Leyton Orient of Dan Happ plays it across the right hand side to the captain Omar Beckles, and they are having a little bit more possession as Luke Garbutt comes up from left back, and they force Orient all the way back to the goalkeeper Cahill, and Mai was lurking there in case of another fumble from the shot stopper. And the ball breaks clear almost to Aaron Connolly, but he's in an offside position. Don't think he quite realised as Ballard takes it forward, but offside certainly called up a good 20 seconds or so before that. Connolly begging in protest, but it will be a free kick to Salford, and it's 0-0.
Yeah, and obviously that's what if I was obviously managing the team here now, to say there's a lot of energy at the front end of Salford's pitch. You know, obviously they are quite difficult conditions, but if they can have some passes along the back line, Leyton Orient, and try and exhaust, you know, Udo and Mai to try and press a little bit more so that they're actually trying to tire them out, then obviously they're going to stretch the Salford team. And on the flip side of it is when Salford win the ball back, they're trying to play back into those types of players. They'll yet to be recovered from the little bit of pressing they've just done. So if they can do that and sort of tire the front line out of Salford, it might blunt them just a little bit. But again, so far so good for Salford as looking at it as a start anyway.
Yeah, they're holding the League One side more to their own as the ball goes down the line then to Connolly, left hand side, first chance for the number 10 to run at the Salford defence, sends the ball into the box. It's cleared by the right boot of Garbutt, but only so far as Sean Clare. He can't bring the ball though under control, and it's clipped forward looking for the run of Unmai down that left hand channel, and Beckles will whack it out of play into the hospitality on that far left-hand side as Salford City attack. Under the floodlights, FA Cup second round, the first of 3 commentaries for you this weekend. Bolton at Swindon tomorrow. Macclesfield FC looking to reach the third round for the first time since reforming. Go to Slough on Sunday. And if you want to hear from those camps, if you want to get the best news and analysis and content, you can on BBC Sounds. There's a stream for all of your local clubs, so if you're a Salford City fan, type Salford City into BBC Sounds and you'll be able to get all the build up to this game, all the reaction afterwards as well from Carl Robinson, and make sure to click subscribe so you never miss an episode. You haven't missed anything here either as the ball's out for a throw-in just to the right of Carl Robinson for Leyton Orient. On their left-hand side, it's Jack Simpson, the left-back, to take it. Orient in their blue and blue. What do you make of the pattern on their shirts, Liam? It's kind of dark blue, light blue. I mentioned beforehand a little bit of pink to their left-hand side as well.
Is it Puma? I think Puma do quite a fancy array of kits, to be fair. We've had a couple at Stockport when I played there before. But they haven't been able to manage to find too many of them shirts just yet, because the red are absolutely, you know, they're hunting down. There's two, three players around every single sort of duel that's in there. Yeah, they're swarming over them, Salford, at the moment, as a free kick looked to be taken quickly by Sean Clare for Connolly, but the ref waves it back just inside the Leyton Orient half. Do you have a favourite kit that you played in? Particular colour strip that you really enjoyed wearing? Probably be careful, I suppose. Yeah, I've represented Red of Salford, eh? I've represented probably most of the teams in North West. Every single colour. So any team that I've worn in the North West has got a very great kit. Excellent. Luke Garbutt has the ball in his hands. The current Salford captain, the former Salford captain, who led them to back-to-back promotions. Liam Hogan with us on Total Sports as Matty Young goes for a long goal kick after being chased down, and it's out for a throw-in on the left-back position for Leyton Orient. Game just settled down a little bit, hasn't it, Liam? It's with 18 minutes played and goalless. Yeah, I think because of all the energy and everything, the impetus that Salford have put into the first 10-15 minutes, having that little spell that Leyton Orient did just stall them a little bit. So now it's just about regrouping again from Salford and trying to reapply that pressure that they just did, without being dragged out of position too much by Leyton Orient's quality in football. But it's those types of moments when you do get the pressure on top that you're going to have to take shots at goal. You're going to have to try and sort of get the ball in the back of the net, because when it does fizzle out, you'll rue the moments that you did have pressure on them. Yeah, no shots on target yet for either side. It was a fast start by Salford, as Liam says, putting lots of pressure on that Orient back line. Udo playing alongside Unmai as a front two. Callum Cisse starts. He's one of 2 changes that Carl Robinson made from last week's win over Crawley. The other, Josh Osterfield. Those two playing behind the front two. So almost a 2-2-2 in the midfield, as battling with it is Unmai in the Leyton Orient right back position, and he wins his side a throw-in in front of the fans down that left-hand channel. Reaching the third round, Liam, we mentioned it beforehand. Last season they did it. Obviously, the loss to Manchester City, but
it's the chance, isn't it, to get another big team as well, and they've only done it for the first time in their history last year, and this could be a chance to get there for the second time.
Yeah, and obviously on the day when the result goes the way it does, and obviously City are at the top of the game, like, it probably feels awful. But they'll have so many memories. Do you know what I mean? From looking back on it to be and share the pitch with some of obviously the world's best players. You know, I remember like a Lincoln side that went in the FA Cup a few years back. I think they got to the 6th round maybe, and they defeated like the likes of Burnley and that. So you're still within a fighter's chance. When you share the pitch over the course of the 90 minutes, and obviously the way Salford have set up here now, they look good quality really to maybe potentially go through this round.
Yeah, you wouldn't really know that there was a league's difference between these two sides at the moment, as Luke Garbett goes for the long throw-in and works the line here as the header goes out for another throw-in to the Salford City captain. 20 minutes played then on Total Sport, goalless between Orient and Salford. A long throw-in again by Luke Garbett, this one coming into the box as the bodies come forward, and Garbett comes up to the line and launches it into the middle, headed away though by Sean Clare, the number 28 for Orient, but Garbett gets the ball back, fizzes in an effort. It was fired right-footed. It needed the palm of Killian Cahill to tip it over the Leyton Orient crossbar and out for a corner kick. First shot on target, nearly caught the keeper napping, but he got there, palmed it over, 0-0.
Yeah, great strike with the opposite foot, cuts inside, gets a strike across, just going under, maybe hitting the crossbar, and the keeper just tips it over. But it just shows how positive this Salford side are, because you've had Turton joining on one side from right side centre back, and also Garbett been contributing in the set piece.
Garbett with the corner kick into the box, headed clear by Orient and clipped away further for Grant, who takes the throw and plays it to the skipper Garbett. Grant gets it back, comes all the way back to just the edge of the centre circle, and Callum Cisse, who's Salford's last man barring keeper Matty Young. And mine now, right hand flank, still cuts inside, feeds it through to Garbett, tries to replay the favourite, falls to Minoga just inside the box, goes this way then that, then sends an effort which is blocked by Simpson, and it's out for a throw into Orient, as Kelly Mai just taking his time to get back to his feet here as he went down on the attack there. Such a promising youngster. Had a bit of an in and out season so far this year. Had an injury in pre-season. Hasn't quite kind of got that flow of games that you need to get into the season. But really highly valued by Salford City, and rightly so. Carl Robinson labelled him the £1 million man if anyone wanted to come in for him. As Salford take the throw in, looking for the bodies inside the 6-yard box, but it's Leyton Orient who will clear it. And Callum Cisse again coming back to do his defensive work, and Luke Garbett plays it all the way back, bobbling to Matty Young, who does well to lace his boot through it and send it forward. And now Grant picks the ball up centre circle, sends the ball down the left-hand channel onto Harris, who does really well to get there. Does Kadeem Harris up to the edge of the box, sends it across, and it's gone into the back of the net. And it's through the legs, I think, of Cahill, the goalkeeper. They were lurking there, was Dan Udo, and it's been turned in off the goalkeeper. Kadeem Harris left-footed, drilled the ball across the box, and it's gone into the back of the net. And Salford City have got the lead with just over 20 minutes played, and they deserve it. Salford 1, Leyton Orient 0.
Yeah, we already seen the goalie just have a little spill just sort of about 5-10 minutes before that. Nothing became of it, but the play just a little bit before it, I think it's Grant that picks the ball up in midfield, and he sort of don't even need to look. He plays the ball over the right back of Leyton Orient, and to be fair, he probably shouldn't keep this ball in, but Kadeem Harris's pace, his control on the line to touch it into the direction where he wants to go, which takes him past, and he just fires it at the goalkeeper hard and low, and it's difficult for the goalie to get his position set. It goes in off his legs, and that's what we're talking about, the pressure to get the lead. Excellent.
I tell you what, I mean, all of that was fantastic work by Salford as the game resumes, but that George Grant pass, just one, like, he knew exactly, didn't he, where Kadeem Harris was going to be, and he's got that pace to utilise the position. Just one touch, bam, from George Grant.
I think that looks like the game plan in terms of, if you've got the ball, you've got a bit of time and space, or if you've not, because it didn't look like he did, and he sort of done it blind to try and hit those areas, because Udo's on the last line and Mai's on the last line. You've got an outlet in Kadeem Harris, and like I said, Minogo's been getting himself forward early on in this game, and it's really pushing Leyton Orient back, and they're struggling to get any territory whatsoever.
Should the keeper have done better? We don't have the benefit of that replay, but it did seem that it was drilled quite hard, but he's at the front post there and maybe should have done a bit better.
Potentially, yeah. I think he's drilled it so hard. He's used the pace of his actual body movement and his momentum to kick through the football hard and low. And obviously the service isn't sort of the greatest in that goal mouth that I can see from here. But to be fair, Salford have done exactly what I would have asked them to do in terms of, can you test the goalie at as many opportunities as you can, get shots on target, ask questions of him, can he deal with it? They get 1-0 from just asking the question.
Yeah, he had one rasping drive just before as Kelly and Meyer chases down Cahill again, which he tipped over, but this one from Kadeem Harris found its way into the back of the net, and Salford then have that lead so far. 24 minutes played, 1-0 it is. Kadeem Harris getting his 4th goal of the season in all competitions. He's pretty much been ever present, has the left winger. 17 League 2 appearances and 3 in the Cup. Only missed 1 game. Has the player who joined from Carlisle on a 1-year deal, and that experience, 32 years of age, really hungry. Lots of good things coming down that left-hand side from Salford City, as it's gone out again for a throw-in to Salford.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Salford's structure there, and obviously Leyton Orient type of team that want to try and play through sort of the thirds and get the ball in that nice little moments to get to Connolly's feet, to have little dribbles, and Salford are all over them. They're on the front foot, they know when to jump from the back line into the sort of 10 pockets, and it's stunting because then Leyton Orient are trying to go long and the wind behind them, just carrying the ball straight through to the Salford City defence or the goalkeeper, and that's their attack done. And then Salford are being able to, on the flip side of it, use sort of the wind to their favour for the balls to stay in play and sort of push Leyton Orient back. And the 1v1 situation that we've seen already with Harris, he's been electric. Yeah,
he certainly has. Down the left hand side, coming up against Leyton Orient's right back, Michael Craig. It's causing him all sorts of nightmares so far, as the Ammies have the lead then against Leyton Orient in the FA Cup second round. They're attacking again down that left hand side, and it's Harris back to Osterfield, and looping high ball from Garbutt into the box is eventually shuffled clear by the visiting side. But it's scrappy from the League One team. They haven't got that foothold yet in the game, and Ollie O'Neill doesn't get a break down the right hand side. Garbutt does well to see it out for a throw in to the visitors. They take it quickly, and it's in the middle of the park, and really good work coming back there is Callum Cisse, hungry to win the ball back. Salford, they look a lot hungrier than Orient do at the moment. BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra, and also BBC Sounds in the FA Cup second round. Salford City 1, Leyton Orient 0. Salford at this stage for the 5th time in their history, as Leyton Orient look to go long to Ballard, but it can only meet the head of George Grant. And it's back with goalkeeper Matty Young. Highlighter green, he boots forward over the head of Unmai, and Omar Beckles, who's also signed a new 2-year deal with the O's. Brought down in the left-hand channel by Ballard, and now Connolly gets a chance to run at Turton. He approaches him just inside the box, being shown inside is Connolly, goes for the shot, takes a deflection of Cisse, who's standing right in front of him, and that is the first shot of any note, nowhere near the target. But that again, Liam, kind of backs up what you've been saying, as Orient just recycle the ball, and they've got it still on that right-hand channel. And it is O'Neill who cuts inside, but they're having to go back, aren't they, Orient?
Yeah, they're really pushing them back. They've got a great low block structure here with not many spaces. Aaron Connolly picks the ball up and tries to do exactly what he did at the other weekend, where he goes past players, but they've just got a brick wall that's in front of him that are closing down his space, and he can't get the shot off clean.
And they're trying to go wide now with left back Simpson, who sends the ball drilled in across the box. Salford can't quite clear completely, and it's Connolly who fires in an effort. Minogo does well to get out and block him just outside the penalty box. 1-0 Salford lead, 28 minutes played on Total Sports. And good work by Kelly and Meyer as well. Midway inside the Salford City half, wins his side a throw-in, and a bit of pressure relieved.
No, the pressure's been excellent, and you can see why now Osterfield, Cisse are in there, because of the energy, the ground that they're covering such an early doors has been absolutely pivotal for the team to be able to be sort of, well, keep them at bay, to be fair. I think Aluwu, Turton and Garbutt, particularly Garbutt, has been doing more attacking work than he has defensively, and Aluwu and Turton have just been shoring up the back line quite comfortably so far. And the one worry is does Connolly gets to his feet and he sort of links in with Ballard, but we haven't been able to see that yet because, like you say, Minogo jumps out, there's been pressure on the ball, it's been excellent.
Yeah, Aaron Connolly and Ballard, as you mentioned, Liam, they are the threats in terms of coming into this game for what they've done this season so far for the O's. The main goal scorers, Ballard, 7 of them, including a hat-trick against Doncaster. Connolly, 8 of them. So he is their leading goal scorer, scored 2 in his last 2 League One games, has the number 10. So Salford then have the throw-in. On that far side, it's Luke Garbutt, who's been heavily involved so far, goes for the long throwing down the line. It's headed away by Leyton Orient, but only so far now as Mai, who gets the ball on the edge of the box. Comes all the way back to Grant. Midway inside the Leyton Orient half is Luke Garbutt, plays a 1-2 with Callum Cisse. Now Mai flicks it around the corner, nice play, gets it back with Callum Cisse into the box, fires in an effort which is blocked just outside the 6-yard box and cleared by Leyton Orient. But some lovely interchange play there between the Salford players. Yeah,
alongside the territory they're trying to play Salford a little bit, where they'd have tried to go after long throws and sort of get the ball down the opposite end quite quickly. You just see an interchange there that looks really sharp. They're looking like they'd be the League One team. You know, they've really come to play tonight, and those types of players where Mai, Cisse, Udo, they've got so much confidence. They always want to play like a bit like an arrogance, a bit like a maverick player. And when you sort of, you know, a big defender that wants to sort of hold your line and sort of manage the space, they're difficult when you want to step in with them because they can roll you, they can turn you.
Speaking from experience there.
Well, yes.
Making sure. I mean, who would you rather have? I guess you wouldn't rather have that than a big, strong front man.
I just think when you've got rotations, you've got sort of creativity and a player that you're not really sort of, you can't predict what they're going to do. They're the most difficult to play against. I think the bigger, taller, sort of more target man. All right, there can be a platform player for a team that can be sort of a little bit easier to manage by taking them under the ball and managing their space and squeezing the line, but players that can come and receive in the pockets in tight spaces get turned, and obviously they're quite powerful players, these types of players. They can go past you in a blink of an eye, and I think Omar Beckles and Hap particularly are going to have a real sort of busy night tonight because Mai and Udo, they're just on the shoulder every time.
Yeah, both of those players, those 2 centre-backs, Beckles and Hap, been with the club for quite a long time, part of their League 2 promotion win a couple of years ago. So they've been a steady backline for Leyton Orient, but they are being caused problems by the Salford City attackers, as it's Salford who lead 1-0 in the FA Cup second round. It's Callum Cisse, and now with Minoga down by the right corner flag, just tried to knock it back inside to Cisse, but it's Orient who will intercept, and they will bring it forward across the halfway line with the gloved Connolly, who goes past Minoga, but Turton sticks his left foot in and it goes out for a throw-in next to Richie Wellens, who barks instructions there, the former, if brief, Salford City manager. And it's Beckles who's got the ball inside the Orient half, but he's having to take some time and choose which pass to do as he's chased down by Odu. He goes for the right-hand flank, and again, it goes out of play, and it's a throw into Salford City. 1-0 they lead.
Yeah, they're going to have to find another route, because the route from back to front, particularly with the wind behind them, it's not going to work. It's just going to skid on, it's just going to use the wind and go straight out, because obviously the maturity of Garbutt and Turton, they can just manage the players in front of him, and obviously the moments that they do try and get Connolly on the ball to dribble past somebody, slightly gets past Minogo and he just meets Turton straight away.
They've got the ball in the centre circle. It's Leyton Orient who trail against Salford City, FA Cup second round. Now Connolly gets to run at Minogu down by the byline, but his ball into the box is low and it's straight into the feet of Ollie Turton, who will send the clearance spiralling out of play on the halfway line as the left-hand side as Orient attack. It's a throw-in, and they again will look to build with Sean Clare, who stepped into midfield as part of a 2 for Leyton Orient this evening on BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sounds, and it is the home side who lead 1-0 with just over 10 minutes played of this, or 10 minutes to go of this first half. Orient have the ball at the back with Simpson, goes back to his goalkeeper Cahill, and who sends the ball to Beckles, and he'll stride forward, coming across the halfway line, being chased by Udo. Still Beckles comes forward, slides it to his right hand side, and now it's back in the middle with Sean Clare. Takes a touch left footed, plays it across the centre circle to Simpson, and Connolly receives the ball but immediately closed down by Minoga. He clips the ball forward looking for Ballard, but there's Aloba who heads it clear strongly, and Osterfield will win a free kick, being a push in the back from Clare, and he goes down to the floor, does Josh Osterfield, and it's a free kick for Salford, 1-0.
Yeah, really good game management, like I spoke about before. When you get a lead in a game, in those types of moments, don't take any risks. Feel the contact, go down, settle the game down again. And I was just sort of seeing a picture that was slightly developing there for Leyton. I think if they can move the ball, if they can take the ball down the right hand side and move it back outside to this left hand side a little bit quicker, it just lets Connolly be a little bit higher, and he'll actually be 1v1 versus Minoga, because the times he's been getting it a bit low. Minogue's been able to get the pressure on him, and if he has slightly got past him, that's what I mean by Turton being over already. And I think if Leyton Orient can sort of try and switch play quicker and get Connolly in those types of dangerous moments, we saw it slightly there. His cross, it didn't have the quality, but he was more 1v1 with Minogue, and that will give it more of a testing time for the wing back for Salford.
Yeah, Haji Minogue, 23 years old, had a bit of an injury hit season, just like Kelly and Mai. Declined 2 bids in the summer, triggered a 1-year extension at Salford City, and he's been decent in the games that he has played in. In fact, he was sent off for Portsmouth playing in the FA Cup a few years ago in a bit of a melee. But he's holding Connolly at bay so far. On Total Sport, 10 minutes left of this first half, with Salford City on top. They lead 1-0. Do the Ammies. And Carl Robinson in conversation with Alex Bruce, his assistant, on the touchline. A throw-in goes short from Minoga. And it's back with him and Mai, who fires in the ball into the box. And keeper Cahill, straight at him at the near post, comfortably claims it. Bodies lurking around him. Might have had flashbacks to the Kadeem Harris goal, which squirmed through and off his legs from the left-hand side, a drilled-in ball into the box. But this one claimed by the goalkeeper, who goes long with his goal kick. But Salford City will clear it now on the halfway line. It drops to Orient, blocked off by Garbett though, and Osterfield sends down Kadeem Harris on that left-hand side. Rolls his foot over the ball, goes down the flank, lays it inside. Nice play again by Salford City, exchanging passes. Osterfield and Kelly and Mai. And now Cisse tries to get the ball past Orient, but can't quite do so, can't quite slide it past Abdullahi, but he does win the ball back, does the number 21, the match hero last week in the win against Crawley. The man who scored 2 late goals in the 4 goals that he's got so far this season since joining from Wealdstone. And it will be Salford who will have the ball with Luke Garbett on the left-hand side with a throw-in. They lead 1-0, 9 minutes left of the first half. And the first half, which for Salford, Liam's gone to plan?
Absolutely to plan. I don't think you could wish for it any differently, really. I don't think the Salford keepers had anything to save. I think they've gained territory in the right times by playing long throws, by playing the ball at the end of the pitch. I think they pressed really well. Leyton Orient have just been able to try and thrash it, clearances, and not really get it that far.
And now the Orient, though, do get a chance to run forward, and it's Abdullahi. He has the ball on the edge of the box, uses Connolly to his left-hand side, stands up against Turton, slides the ball across to Ballard, who fires it just inside the box, but only into a body of Salford players. He does get it back, though, and the Orient work it to their right-hand side. It's a little bit scrappy. Ball drilled into the box, is cleared again by Salford, and George Grant will calmly clip it to Kadeem Harris, who brings the ball forward. Just coming across the halfway line does Kadeem Harris. Luke Garbett took a bit of a knock there, just gingerly getting back to his feet. At the other end of the pitches, and Mai sliding challenge comes in, and he wins his side. A free kick, left-hand edge of the box.
Yeah, that's the first time I've really seen some space in that Salford back line. And the Leyton Orient player got in between, and Minoga was just slightly out of position. It was on a turnover possession. But again, to be fair, they've closed down space. They've stopped shots, they've blocked shots, they've got bodies to the ball. And unlike a few of the recent games where they flew bodies and sort of give away penalties, they've been really disciplined in the way that they approach the ball, and they've been able to clear, go down the other end in that counter-attacking style that we've seen so far in this game, and win themselves a free kick again in a dangerous position. Yeah,
it's going to be George Grant who steps over it with the right foot. It's to the left of directly to the left, just on the edge of the penalty box. And he'll be right-footed, so he'll send it to the runners who will be coming forward onto the goal of Killian Cahill. It is 1-0, Salford lead, 7 minutes left of this first half in the FA Cup second round. The first tie of the weekend is in Greater Manchester, and it's brought to you on Total Sport. And it's George Grant then with the drilled in free kick into the palms of Cahill. He only parries it though, and there was Udo who had got a left-footed effort, and it's pushed eventually behind by Cahill, who's looked pretty nervy in these opening 40 minutes. It's a corner kick to Salford, 1-0.
Yeah, he's having a tough time. Again, it could be the occasion, playing in such an occasion that he feels is bigger than a league match kind of thing, and overthinking stuff, but stuff that you would look like would be really comfortable. He's spilling stuff. And again, now Salford, if you were them, you'd be saying just put this straight on the goalkeeper again.
George Grant, after taking that free kick, now has the corner kick, again right-footed, putting that pressure on the goalkeeper, in-swinger though, big header away by Simpson this time, and the referee says a foul given against Salford City, and some relief then for Killian Cahill, who will take the free kick. On loan from Brighton this season, didn't start it as number 1. Tommy Simpkin had that responsibility, but Richie Wellens has put faith in the 22-year-old. He has let in the only goal of the game so far on Total Sports. BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sounds as a free kick given against Salford. Carl Robinson, hands on his heads just to the right of him in the left back position for Leyton Orient. That's Cahill, edge of his box, passes the ball across to his captain Omar Beckles with the ponytail held up in a hairband at the top of his head, but his drive forward only means that Orient keep hold of the ball now with Craig. Tries to dink the ball forward and controlled by Orient, and it's instead a given against an offside decision given against O'Neill, and Salford still lead 1-0.
Yeah, I'm just watching Richard Wellens. He's yelling at his team down there. I mean, they've got a flat back five that's set in front of him, and they're trying to play balls into spaces in behind, and it's, you know, a really well taken flick from the player on the receiving, but it's going to take an unbelievable amount of ball and quality to try and break that down. Like I said to you earlier, when they got gaps to try and get runners beyond them gaps, it's when they switch play quickly or on turnovers, they go to goal quickly with a few dribbles and try and eliminate some of the Salford players. At the minute, they're just, they're playing balls into a fully set back five, and Salford are able to regain possession and then actually turn it into a bit of a dangerous sort of bit of territory themselves by playing forward quite quickly. Yeah,
haven't seen much yet of Ollie O'Neill. Haven't seen Charlie Wellens really get on the ball. The son of Richie, Salford born as well, came through the United Academy. Hasn't had much of the ball. And it's with the goalkeeper Cahill then, who just only launches it long out of play. On the far left-hand side, the Salford come forward. 3.5 minutes left of this first half, in which Kadeem Harris's goal, his low his right-footed drilled strike, which came off the goalkeeper into the net. The only difference between these two sides on Total Sports. Garber then goes for the throw-in, and Minoga gets the ball played in, right hand edge of the box, goes for the shot, blocked off Simpson, and behind for a corner kick.
Another corner yet, another set piece, another chance to get the ball. They look really nervy. Beckles tries to play a pass back to Cahill. It gets cut out, but it's the pressure from the strikers in Udo and Mai putting pressure on. Simple actions such as trying to circulate the ball around the back for Leyton Orient hasn't been easy whatsoever tonight, and that's why they've resorted to it's a game that's not always been there, in trying to play balls up top to Ballard, where he's got numbers around him and they're losing possession.
Luke Garbett over the ball. The captain's armband glistening under the floodlights this Friday night. 1-0 his side lead, and Minoga's just taken to the floor just inside the 6-yard box. He's got a few players around him. He gets to his feet though. Referee goes across to have a word, does Benjamin Speedy, as we wait for the corner kick to be taken. I'll have a few words being said. 2 minutes left then of this first half. Luke Garber raises his left arm high. Green boots sends the ball into the box. It's missed by the defence and almost fell to Minoga, but eventually it comes clear. Kelly and Mai tries to get his foot on the ball, but he's being hurried away by the Orient players and plays it back to George Grant, who can't quite send the ball down the channel to Kadeem Harris. But Salford though have the ball back, as Orient can't keep hold of it on the halfway line with Grant, and now with Luke Garbett sends it to Matty Young as we enter the final 90 seconds of this first half. Salford 1, Leyton Orient 0, and Matty Young's ball can't quite find Kadeem Harris, and it's out for a Leyton Orient throw-in in their right-back position, which they will take, and it's with Omar Beckles, and back again with Killian Cahill. In terms of half-time talks here, Liam, Carl Robinson, more of the same?
I would say so, yeah. I would say using those sort of effective players in Kadeem Harris, trying to get the ball out wide to get him in that 1v1 scenario, trying to get the territory and the entries into the box and shots at Cahill would still be more of the same thing. I don't think you could ask for any more from him, but as I probably know I've seen in the documentary, Cal's going to ask for a lot more at half time. He's a motivator like that. He won't want this to drop off and to let sort of Leyton Orient get their patterns of play and get players like Connolly on the ball in dangerous areas.
He has the ball now, but really well dispossessed by Minoga, right in front of us here at the Peninsula Stadium. He's doing his defensive duties really well, Haji Minoga. Simpson has the ball, forced to go back though to Happ, and now Beckles. Yeah, Minoga stepped out there, did really well to get rid of Connolly, and he's doing exactly the same thing again here. Pushes him back, and it's Connolly who's forced to come inside instead into the centre circle and lays it to the right hand side, and Beckles. And again, look at that by Luke Garber. They're chasing down the Leyton Orient backline. Great commitment being shown by the Salford City captain as we approach the halfway stage here in the FA Cup second round. Connolly now drives forward. He's not marked by Minoga for once. Can't quite, though, flick the ball forward as we enter 1 minute of additional time here at the Peninsula Stadium. And Kelly and Meyer judge to have fouled Jack Simpson. And Carl Robinson, the ball just goes underneath his feet there in the technical area. And as he talks to the referee. So 1-0 then. Richie Wellings again, the unhappier of these two coaches at half-time. Back at his brief stomping ground at Salford City, where he won that EFL trophy in 2020. And Leyton Orient fans slowly start to make their way for a half-time refreshments away on that far right-hand side behind the goals. Their side try to come forward. No shots on target so far for Matty Young, who hasn't had a lot to do at the back between the sticks for Salford City. And Garbutt's ball just goes out of play. And the referee blows the half-time whistle. So far, so good then for Salford City. They lead 1-0 against Leyton Orient. Kadeem Harris's low drilled effort from the left side of the penalty box. Tight angle, perhaps goalkeeper Killian Cahill should have done better. It squirmed through him and underneath him and into the net. Since then, Salford have looked the more positive of the two sides. No other shots on target, but they put real pressure on that back line, which includes Omar Beckles, who's having a few words here with Benjamin Speedy as the two go off into the dressing rooms for half-time. The players take their leave of the stage, and it's going well for Salford City so far. 1-0 then they lead on Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. Liam Hogan.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what Beckles has sort of got a grumble with there. I mean, I think as the game's gone out, Leyton Orient probably getting frustrated in terms of not being able to put their style of football on the game to try and dominate. And you can see why Carl Robinson's been talking up the Salford team of dominating games of late and, you know, not probably getting the points that they've deserved maybe of what the performances have been. I mean, if they can match that second half, they will be comfortably in the next round, because I can't actually see, you know, apart from a bit of quality maybe from a Connolly or a Ballard, of how Leyton Orient are going to trouble this Salford line. The only couple of times is when they've been able to move the ball quicker and switch the play quicker, but they've had the ball too many times around the back, not progressing the ball up the pitch and asking questions of like I said, the Salford back five that have been really set and done defensively, you know, the diligence so well. And on the flip side of it, when they do break you down and they win the ball back, they've got, you know, Udo, they've got Amai, they've got Cisse that's catching up, and obviously probably the star of the half, Kadeem Harris, is the outlet from particularly George Grant, finding that space in behind the right fullback of Leyton Orient. It is causing Leyton Orient so many problems.
It certainly is, and the goal came from that no-look pass from George Grant, centre circle, sent it down the left-hand channel onto the on-rushing Kadeem Harris, and just a moment of quality by Salford.
Yeah, well, what you probably expect to see from the players like Connolly and Ballard from being in League One, but like you say, Carl's really taught this group up. Luke Garbett talked this group up before the game, saying they don't fear anybody. They've got plenty of confidence within the side and those types of players at the top end of the pitch. And it's really marinating so well because the defensive side of the game is doing so well, particularly Cisse, who's been able to try and contribute by getting his body forward to support the attack, but then also having a responsibility which is whatever defender needs really, is a midfielder that can do that side of the game and look after you when you do get a little bit exposed. He's tied it up in a few moments. Like I said, everything's gone so well for Salford, but it's only 45 minutes. It's the FA Cup, and it's another 50 minutes or so that anything can happen, particularly with certain qualities on the pitch.
Yeah, particularly Orient as well, being the top goal scorers in League 1 too. And I know they haven't threatened because that Salford back five when they defend has looked pretty comfortable and nullified those threats of Connolly as we picked out during that first half. Yeah, just on Callum Cisse, I mean, he is kind of he is box to box really, isn't he? Because he is quite often almost the last man sometimes.
Yeah, well, we've seen obviously from the set pieces, particularly from corners and also from long throw-ins, Cisse is the man at the back, because I've watched him travel from box to box. He's quick, he can get across the pitch, he glides, he's got a physical profile, so if they do play the ball forward he can go and compete in the air, and he's got confidence to actually take the ball to his feet and make decisions rather than lash at things and sort of what you might expect from a young player, being the last man under a little bit of pressure with players like Ballard and Connolly around him, but he hasn't. He's been a real sort of Osterfield have been real sort of good energy in there to support what's been a really excellent press from the top end of the pitch.
Any concerns if you're a Salford fan at this stage?
I mean, if you look at that, the only concern could be that potentially the game could get too easy in terms of the keeper's not had much to do. The defence have mopped stuff up, been so comfortable that they just catch him off guard a little bit. But the rest defence has been excellent. The structure's been excellent, particularly in a low block, which is probably when you're heightened as a defender because the spaces are smaller. Obviously the net's closer behind you. I think it'll be more the moments when Salford maybe do counter-attack and go forward and they give the ball away, and they've got committed players like Minoga, Garbett and Kadeem Harris that want to travel forward too, that they get themselves left exposed a bit at the back, but we haven't seen that so far.
Certainly haven't. It's Salford City then who have the lead at half-time against Leyton Orient. Kadeem Harris's low drill strike the difference between these two. This is the first of three commentaries this weekend on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds. We'll look ahead to some of those next on Total Sports.
Ho, ho, ho! Father Christmas here. I'm stepping away from the busy workshop to visit BBC Radio Manchester. If you have a little one in your life who'd like to share their wish list, they can speak to me on Christmas Eve morning. I'll be on the end of a phone between 9 and 10. But I will need to check if they've been naughty or nice. So book your call in with my elves now on this number, 0800 218 2255. Tell me about the little ones in your life and make their Christmas on BBC Radio Manchester.
The Father Christmas phone-in.
Christmas Eve from 9.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Half-time, Salford City 1, Leyton Orient 0, live at the Peninsula Stadium on BBC Radio Manchester, BBC 5 Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sounds. Tonight starts our FA Cup second round coverage. Tomorrow, commentary of Bolton at Swindon from 3. Reports too of Stockport versus Cambridge, Wigan face Barrow and Oldham travel to MK Dons. But on Sunday, can Macclesfield FC reach the third round for the first time since reforming? The Silkmen go to Slough in a game you can hear Sunday 12:30. All of this available on BBC Sounds. And by the way, if you want to get all the latest news and analysis of your club, make sure to subscribe to your page on BBC Sounds. For example, Amis fans, search Salford City, hit subscribe so you'll be notified when new episodes are available. Right then, at half-time, 1-0 Salford lead, and England will there begin their World Cup 2026 campaign against Croatia before facing Ghana and Panama in Group L. We have the draw a little bit earlier on. Let's get the thoughts, shall we, from England boss Thomas Tuchel on that draw.
Difficult group, difficult opener, difficult group with Croatia and Ghana, two regulars in World Cups and two proud and strong nations. And Panama, I don't know much about Panama at the moment, but we will find out about it until the tournament starts, of course. For me, I'm only experienced group football in Champions League formats, and the way to approach it was always to give it the biggest respect and to put all the focus into winning the group. It always seems difficult, like our group now, but we're confident and we will be well prepared when we arrive.
Croatia are never to be underestimated, are they?
No one should be underestimated. Of course, Croatia is the standout name, the highest ranked team from Pot 2 that we got into our group. But listen, Ghana is always full of talent and can always surprise, and has a big history in World Cup football. And also Panama will try to make their most as in their underdog role. So no one can be underestimated. Everyone deserves the fullest respect, and we will show that.
That is England boss Thomas Tuchel on the World Cup draw. A reminder, they're in Group L are the three lines. They've got Croatia, always get Croatia, don't we? Ghana and Panama as well. Scotland's first match at a men's World Cup for 28 years will be against Haiti on the 13th of June. They've also got Morocco and 5 times winners Brazil in Group C. Wales or Northern Ireland will join Canada, Qatar and Switzerland in Group B, should either of those come through their 2 rounds of playoff matches in March. And the Republic of Ireland could meet Mexico, South Africa and South Korea if they also qualify. They face Czech Republic in the World Cup playoff semi-finals in March. Up to date then on the World Cup draw, which happened, took about 3 hours, did the draw this evening on BBC Sports website and app. So then, looking ahead to the rest of the games this weekend in your FA Cup on Total Sport, well, Bolton travel to League 2 side Swindon tomorrow afternoon. Boss Stephen Schumacher is looking forward to a refreshing game of football.
The cup ones this week has been good because it's refreshing. It takes a little bit of the pressure off the league games. It's 2 competitions that we want to progress in. We've managed to do that on Tuesday night against Bradford, and we want to do that again on Saturday. It's the FA Cup I love the FA Cup games, and when it's the second round and then what sort of comes after that, the excitement that can build, it's good. So we want to try and win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess the priority though, you wouldn't swap, winning promotion for a good run in the cup, or I don't know, maybe getting to the final of the FA Trophy.
No, promotion is the ultimate objective. I've experienced that firsthand.
Sorry.
Had a real disappointment in one of them competitions, but managed to overcome that anyway. So obviously, yeah, for us, that is the main objective. We want to try and get out of this league. So we have full focus on the league. But as I say, when I've got a full squad at the moment and everyone's playing well, it's also important that we focus on keeping momentum and try and win as many games as we can.
At this stage of the season, because you've just mentioned the full squad you've got, you've done reasonably well with injuries so far this campaign. You could probably field 2 teams that would be, very acceptable as League One starting 11s.
Yeah, I feel that. I think the standard that we've got in the squad is good. I think what's helped that is that we haven't had a massive fixture congestion pile up. We've played 17 league games, have we? And that right? 18 or 17 games. Half a dozen cup games so far, and everybody, as you say, has been able to rotate and play. Don't think there's anybody in the squad that hasn't started games. I think everybody's contributed, and everybody, as you say, has been in good form. So having clear weeks a lot to prepare for games helps, and we've rotated the team when necessary.
The Bolton boss Stephen Schumacher ahead of their FA Cup second round trip to Swindon tomorrow. You'll be able to hear that live on digital radio and BBC Sounds from 3 on 95.1 FM. It's Manchester City against Sunderland. Tonight, Salford City at half-time 1-0 up against League One Leyton Orient. This the first then of 3 FA Cup commentaries. The third and final is Macclesfield FC on Sunday. The Silkmen looking to continue their amazing FA Cup run as they head to Slough. Head coach John Rooney is excited for the tie.
We're looking forward to it. It's a massive game for us and the football club, so it's one we're looking forward to. And I think the way we've been this season and the run we're on in the FA Cup, there's a real good buzz about the place at the minute, so it's one we're all really looking forward to.
John, how do you approach this then as a gaffer? Are you really, really hyping it up before it, or are you just trying to keep the nerves to a minimum and treating it like any other game?
Yeah, we had this conversation today, and it's no, I'm just treating it as any, like we would every other game, whether it was a league game, FA Trophy game, Cheshire Senior Cup game. You know, we're treating it exactly the same, and you know, we don't want to put too much pressure on the lads. So, you know, it's one where we take each game as it comes, and you know, we're just treating it like any other game.
John, you're on the telly as well, so how important is that for getting eyes on the club?
No, it's you know, it's fantastic for the football club, and even for us, myself as manager, and for the lads as well, to go and showcase themselves and show the nation what they're about. And so it's a great opportunity for the football club, for myself and for the players as well, to go and show everyone what they're about and what a real good side we are.
John, how have you been finding this transition then into management? Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, I've loved every minute of it, to be honest. And you know, with me playing here last year with a large group of the lads who are still here, it was a bit of a good transition, to be fair. And I couldn't have asked to go in with a better group of lads than the lads who I shared the dressing room with last year. And I know I've got a top bunch of lads here, and who give me everything I've got. So it's been a real good start, to be fair. And you know, we couldn't have asked to do it with a better bunch of lads.
Silkman boss John Rooney on Total Sport. Macclesfield FC at Slough on Sunday. Make sure to listen to that on Total Sport from 12:30 on Sunday. I mentioned Manchester City's your commentary game on FM tomorrow afternoon. They return to action against Sunderland after that epic 9-goal thriller against Fulham. Pep Guardiola says that game is already out of his mind.
Forgotten. Good learning, hopefully, but it's forgotten. It's next. In Premier League, when in modern football, all the clubs, you have to learn what happened, good things, the bad things, and think of the next one.
Can you forget that?
You know, right now, yeah.
And do you think your players can? Because, I don't know, from your perspective, when you look at it, are you more pleased about the version of your team that went 5-1 in front, or are you more concerned about the team that made it 5-4?
Of course, I'm concerned. The good things, with the good things, and we try to understand what happened to concede the goals and don't be as good as we were in the first half. So it's not much. Opponent always count. I'm highly consideration about Marco and Fulham for many years since was be promoted. When I was in the Championship, came here. I don't know if FA Cup or Carabao Cup, and he played really good. And that year was promoted for the Premier League, and I know we scored 5 goals there. It's not easy. The chances that we create even more, but sometimes, of course, we see what happened.
Pep Guardiola there ahead of Manchester City Sunderland tomorrow afternoon. You can hear that on 95.1 FM on Total Sport. If you want to hear more build-up, more analysis, more content, you can. BBC Sounds has a stream for all of your teams, so just search for Manchester City, for example, on BBC Sounds, and make sure you click subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Right then, rain starting to team down here at the Peninsula Stadium. We're at Salford City 1, Leyton Orient 0. Second half of the FA Cup second round, the first of a trio of commentaries for you this weekend on BBC Radio Manchester. Tonight we're also on 5 Sports Extra 3 and also BBC Sounds, so welcome along if you're listening there, in company of Alex Whittington and the former Salford City captain Liam Hogan. And Liam, we mentioned beforehand how the rain had eased off, and now it's back again. Any difference?
I would say for Salford the surface, all I would say was is Salford there just looked to play a long ball forward. I hope they've sort of learned from the way that Leyton Orient went about the business, trying to play long, quite direct. It didn't quite work, and try and pass as they was doing, because there was some beautiful passages of play in the first half where they were playing one touch in between the lines of Leyton Orient.
Yep, Salford, good value for their 1-0 lead. Kadeem Harris's goal has them ahead as the ball tries to slide through to the on-rushing O'Neill, and it's whacked away into the crowd, very close to the commentary position. Well, when you get your head on it, Liam.
Stick my head on it.
Push the other way. Right then, the teams for this second half. So Salford City made 2 changes from the 4-3 epic thriller against Crawley in their last league game on Saturday. The hero Callum Cisse starts, so too does Josh Osterfield. Cole Stockton and Matt Butcher are on the bench, so they are young in goals. Back three of Turton, Alowu and Garbett. It's Grant, then Minoga wide right, Harris wide left, Osterfield and Kelly and Mai, and Dan Udo is up top. Callum Cisse as well is sort of everywhere really. He's been box to box so far in this game. As for Leyton Orient, then managed by the former Salford boss and player as well, and a brief stint here did Richie Wellens. He spent much of the first half frustrated and trying to bark instructions to his players who have struggled so far against the League 2 outfits. So they are Cahill in goals, Craig, Beckles, Happ and Simpson as a back four, Clare and Abdullahi in the midfield two, O'Neill wide right, Connolly wide left, Wellens, who has been pretty absent so far, the son of Richie, is behind Ballard up top then. So 2 minutes played in this second half on Total Sport, and it's Leyton Orient who've got the ball just on the halfway line, and they try to dart forward, but Callum Cisse gets in front and in fact wins his side a throw, and his Salford kick from right to left this time got the wind out their backs. So too the Leyton Orient fans away behind Matty Young's goal. 1-0 they lead in this FA Cup second round tie. They're looking to make the third round for the second year running. Ball from the throw-in headed forward by Minoga, trying to find Udo, but it's cleared and out nearly on that left-hand side. They're well kept in there by Ballard, who's racing forward. Osterfield as well, though, to get back, put his foot on the ball, swivel and turn and fire it upfield. But Leyton Orient, through Abdullahi, will bring the ball forward, though, muscled out of it by two red shirts. But it's Orient, though, who get that ball back on the left-hand side, and it is Connolly who comes forward, goes past Minoga, this time fires in an effort well over the bar in the end, but a glimpse there that perhaps something we didn't see so much in the first half, Liam.
No, and that's what he's absolutely well capable of, and that was the moment I was talking about, is when Salford win the ball back and then they try and attack quickly, but then they lose that bit of possession and it becomes a little bit basketball-y, which frees up Connolly to be more 1v1 against Minoga, and obviously he's got attributes to go both ways. We saw his goal the other week against Burton Albion, where he sort of sinks low to his left and takes underneath the defender's sort of profile and goes through on goal and slots it. But then he can also, we've tried to see him cut inside a little bit and try and link up to try and open up a space to shoot as well. It's a very difficult place to be in as a defender when a player is so confident to go both sides.
And what are you doing with that then? We've seen it a few times to success in the first half, Minoga stepping out to block him. What are you doing? You stepping or you sitting?
I think they've been really successful in not letting him go down the line and sort of letting him come inside and let him try and link up with players inside, because the numbers that Salford have in that back line with the five, they've been able to jump out and put pressure on the next pass, whether it be Ballard or whether it be Wellens trying to join in.
1,796 in attendance here on this Friday night, which has turned into a rainy one at the Peninsula Stadium, including 398 travelling O's supporters. And it is Clare who wins the ball back, battling with Osterfield, who does drag him down left shoulder, but referee waves play on because Orient bring the ball forward then, and they drive, going from right to left. Great pass by Michael Craig, looking for Connolly again, and the ball bounces off him and skims behind for a goal kick to Matty Young, who starts for the first time in any cup competitions this season. The veteran Mark Howard has been preferred, and you know, why not? You've got that experience of him on the bench tonight. So it is Matty Young who starts between the sticks, all in green away to our right hand side. As 1-0 Salford City lead, 5 minutes played of this second half. Total Sport, BBC Radio Manchester, 5 Sports Extra 3, and also on BBC Sounds as well. And the ball on the halfway, and Alowu gets a challenge in, and it comes back to goalkeeper Killen Cahill. He's all in purple opposite his counterpart Matty Young, and that's the ball almost goes to him. Young, though, didn't come for it, and instead it's Alowu who tried to clear the ball forward, and are now battling the two number 14s, Craig and Harris. And it's Salford who will have to go long, though, with their clearance, only onto the chest of Dan Happ in the centre circle. Orient give away their free kick. Happ clipped the heels of George Grant, and it's Salford 1, Orient 0. The rain continues to drive down. 6 minutes played of this second half. Orient have looked a bit more positive in this second half?
It almost looks like a replica of the first half, with this probably the end of this pitch, maybe the weather, I'm not too sure, but instantly the left-hand side of the pitch for Leyton Orient being used immediately, trying to get balls out there. Minoga cut one out and took a chance on his chest, and it kind of looked like he was just about to nick in front, and obviously he got the decision where it went out for a goal kick. Just got to be careful in those types of moments where they're leaving Minoga too many times 1v1, because it will end up in some sort of entry into the box, and when you're behind a defender behind an attacker trying to chase, and you get your legs clipped and caught and stuff like that, it doesn't end up in a good way. So they have to be careful managing that a little bit better.
Yeah, they certainly will. Liam Hogan, former Salford captain, on Total Sports here at the Peninsula Stadium, and Minoga tries to dart round 3 O's players, who will win the ball back through Simpson, although it's only so far as Olowu, who's got Ballard challenging with him at the back, and the ball goes long. Now a chance for Salford to do something in this second half, and the Hills wrapped around on Callum Cisse there by Leyton Orient, and a yellow card to Leyton Orient player, and it is Sean Clare who goes into the book. First booking of the game, 1-0 Salford lead.
Yeah, again, really poor, and it's what I've mentioned from what I watched over the last course of the couple of games from Leyton Orient, is the rest defence. They sort of use their physical profiles, Beckles and Happ, to maybe, deal with a lot of physical situations, but when they're not really up against anyone and there's a lot of space, there's big gaps between them, and there's a clearance ball that's just gone in between the pair of them. I think it was Udo that tries to get in behind and then link up with Cisse, who's trying to make the numbers up beyond. There's too many gaps in that back four for them.
Garber then with the free kick clipped into the box. Clare rises highest, but can only head it so far as Udo, and it's now with Harris. Left hand touchline, goes for the step over, goes for the dart down the line against O'Neill, who goes in for the challenge, and it just comes off the Salford City player and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, sorry, like I was saying, there's too many spaces in that back four for players like Udo and Amai. Osterfield, we've seen try and make the numbers up as well. He scored his goal the other week in the 4-3 against Crawley, back post, making those numbers. They're going to cause that back four problems. So it's just really important that sort of Salford still stays disciplined when they're without the football. Again, they rob the football in midfield again.
Yep, and they've got it coming forward. Is Udo, lays it to his left hand side, edge of the box for Harris, who cuts inside, plays it to Grant, takes the ball out of his feet, drills it across 25 yards out, goes past the left hand post. It was low, it was across the goal for Murphy, and it's out for a goal kick to Killian Cahill.
Any time that Leyton Orient look to try and play a pass between the lines to get their sort of ball playing midfielders on it, Salford jump on the opportunity, nick the ball, and give themselves an opportunity to create themselves by having those 3 types of players on the last line, and it's resulting again for Leyton having to hit more direct footballs in the air, which Ballard, he hasn't been able to manage those up against a very strong Allure.
Yeah, and here he is again, those 2 players that Liam Hogan's just mentioned, and it's the Salford defender who comes off the best. Ballard down on his knees, slowly gets to his feet. Frustrating afternoon for him, so too for Orient, but it's O'Neill who comes forward, sends the ball across from the right hand side. Minoga clears, but only so far as Clare. He sends it to his left hand side and not quite brought under control by Connolly, and even more so as it's out for a throw-in in front of the Salford fans in their right-back position. The Ammies then lead 1-0, 10 minutes played of this second half on BBC Radio Manchester, Sports Extra 3, and also BBC Sounds as well, where, by the way, if you want to stay up to date with all your Salford City content, you can. News, insights and analysis across the BBC. Just search Salford City, hit subscribe, and you'll be notified when new episodes are available. As it's Salford who have the ball driving forward in midfield. It's Callum Cisse, flicks it into Udo, left-footed sliding block from Beckles. Good challenge, he's hurt himself as well as the Orient captain, sliding across the ground to deny the Salford City attacker. And Baconson shortly about to come on for Leyton Orient. Udo and as well down there now on his back, just taking a moment, clutching his left knee. Referee's having a word with him, but it is 1-0 as they both pull themselves to their feet.
Yeah, excellent again. Cisse with the ball, driving with the football, close to his feet, dribbling, trying to commit players out. Sees the space down the side of Omar Beckles, which Udo tries to get in. Omar Beckles does really well to slide and block the shot, but again, it just shows how dangerous this I would say front four, because Kadeem Harris has been pretty much playing on that last line as well. Are so dangerous. It's pretty much a 4v4 scenario, and it's going to suit Salford in this favour. And if it continues like this, there's going to be a lot of defending for Leyton Orient to do.
And they are a goal behind our Orient. 11 minutes played of this second half on Total Sport. The Salford fans, Callum Cisse, their new cult hero at the moment this season, particularly popping up with late goals like he did against Crawley, also did it at Swindon too, as Turton lets the ball bounce from a clearance just inside his own half, but the O's can't make use of that attack, and it's Garbutt who intercepts the ball, trying to look for O'Neill, and Kadeem Harris chooses to cut inside, trying to get past Craig, who wins the ball back though, and Orient will come forward with Connolly. He drives up against Luke Garbutt though, but the captain blocks it. Falls now on the right hand side to Leyton Orient, and Connolly, edge of the box, got two players up against him, goes down under a challenge from Osterfield, and it's now Salford who can start to break as Grant into Enmai, and Beckles comes out and clatters the Salford City youngster. And a free kick given against the Leyton Orient captain. Perhaps a little bit of frustration creeping in there for Orient, who trail 1-0.
Yeah, I don't know if it's frustration, but we just saw there Connolly sort of drift from a position maybe from where he had the ball previous, more of a central position, to try and get on the action a little bit more. Again, we spoke about it just before with Minogue letting the ball sort of be not casual, but take a touch rather than clear your lines. On a tough night, which is windy, it's rainy, you've just got to sort of get that discipline into you and, you know, get the ball away from your goal rather than try and bring it down in those dangerous moments. And I think it was Turton that just lets the ball go across his shoulder and potentially give an opportunity for someone to break that last line.
Yeah, just let the ball bounce, didn't he, the Salford City defender. A couple of changes, in fact, coming on for Orient very shortly, but as it is, it's a free kick to Salford City, just inside the Leyton Orient half, right by Richie Wellens, who is patrolling that touchline. In fact, they're going to do the first change now. Michael Craig coming off, Tyreek Bakinson coming on. The number 15 for Leyton Orient, and Craig makes his way off the pitch, and O'Neill as well being replaced by Leyton Orient. O'Neill has had a quiet game, hasn't he?
Yeah, to be fair, it's probably a tough evening for him, and probably the right decision in terms of the way that the profile of Harris is just dribbling and getting at him every opportunity. And I think obviously now it's up to Richie Wellens, and he's just done it now, to throw the dice a little bit and make a couple of changes and just try and change the pattern of this game a little bit.
Yep, sends on Alfie Lloyd. 4 League One appearances this season for the QPR loanee, so more of an attacking threat being brought on by Richie Wellens. So 2 changes then for Orient as Garbutt sends in this free kick, but it's headed clear immediately into the action by Bakinson, and Callum Cisse challenging under Ballard, and it's the Orient who win the ball back, and it's Connolly who sprints forward. It's been chased back though by Cisse, who gives him a little push in the back, and the ball spirals away for Luke Garbutt, who again goes down under challenge. Effort comes in, first save of the game for Matty Young. It was a snapshot just outside the box, pretty comfortable for the Salford shot stopper. He just collapsed onto it, slightly down to his left hand side, and it's Salford who lead with 1 hour gone on the FA Cup second round, 1-0.
Once again, I've got to mention him again, and Callum Cisse, his recovery run to get back and sort of thwart. I mean, the referee had a better position. It might look like a little bit of a trip and a foul, but you know, obviously if you don't sort of duel and you give up that, and you know you're not going to get that decision, and he doesn't. He goes all the way with Connolly, puts excellent pressure on him, turns the ball over, just as we've just seen again. And I think that change from Richie Wellens with bringing on the striker up front in Lloyd is more of a platform player that I'm talking about, to maybe now, because they can't play the ball through the lines and Salford's press has been so good, that they can now try and maybe play over that a little bit. I think the only way that Leyton Orient probably will disguise or look to get in the back line is to start disguising some passes. It looks quite obvious when they're playing forward, and that's allowed Salford to jump on those moments. It might be something now where Lloyd offers a little bit more in behind so that they can actually sort of guide balls in rather than just lob them up there.
Yeah, he's immediately got onto the shoulder of Alowu, but it's with Kadeem Harris then. He darts down the left hand side, cuts inside again, right, place the pass to Enmai, who clips it across the box. Cisse nods it down to Minogue, can't quite bring it under control, he does now, and it's Cisse fires it, it's in to the bottom left hand corner. What a goal that is by Callum Cisse, who wheels away in delight, being chased by his Salford City teammates. He hugs Ollie Turton as the rest of them eventually catch up with him. Callum Cisse left-footed found the corner of the goal. Salford City, is that the goal that sends them again into the third round of the FA Cup? It's Salford City 2, Leyton Orient 0.
Electric again from Kadeem Harris. He just takes the ball. It looks like he's drawing the defender in. He moves slow, and it's a couple of touches, 1, 2, 3, bang, and he's gone. And he gets beyond him. All right, he doesn't end up in anything, but then they recover the ball back, and again it's straight link-up play. Nice little ball across to the back, and then the composure in the box when it matters to set the ball, and they keep the ball alive. And to be fair, this is topping off his night because Callum's having an excellent game. Callum Cisse, both in possession, out of possession, and now he's contributing with goals. You know what a decision it is for Carl Robinson to include him tonight. Yeah, and he had a beaming smile on his face there as he walked back. He seems a real good character, does Callum Cisse. He's the sort of the latest player profiled on the This Is Salford documentary as well. So great finish, left-footed as well, and a real kind of quality really. And I know that he's spoken a lot with Paul Scholes, of course, who's been part of we'll come back to this in just a second, as Orient immediately tried to offer a threat towards Matty Young's goal, but it's cleared by Salford City, and Orient now have really got to go for it. Connolly plays it back to Simpson. Just on that. Paul Scholes, Callum Cisse has been going to him for advice in terms of adding more goals to his game and making sort of like late runs into the box and things like that as well. And obviously Paul Scholes, what a player to get advice from. Well, exactly. Obviously Scholes in the sort of earlier days before he did drop back into that sort of quarterback role, which he could do unbelievably as well, is the timing of the movement, but also the desire. And obviously we heard Carl Robinson speak a lot about the word desire, and it's not just about in your duels to tackle and sort of win your headers, but it's about commitment to get back in your defensive structure. It's commitment to go beyond players in midfield and expect your strikers to hold the ball up and make good movements in the box, and ultimately take shots when you can take shots, rather than play it safe and make a pass. Go and take the opportunity yourself, and he's done exactly that tonight. Yeah, he's shown plenty of everything there, mentioned by former Salford captain Lynn Hogan on Total Sport just past the hour mark here. Salford City 2, Leyton Orient 0. Well, we said beforehand that there would be goals. Orient, the top goal scorers in League One. Salford have been banging them in recently as well, playing full of confidence too, and they're showing it tonight. So what have Orient got in response then? Just under half an hour left for them to find something, otherwise it will be the Ammies who will make the third round again for the second consecutive season. It's Don Ballard then, who's being faced up by Luke Garbett, has to go back inside and all the way now onto the centre circle for Dan Happ, who sends it to Simpson, and now it's Connolly. Those orange boots glinting under the floodlights. He goes past Minoga again. Connolly, this is the danger. Well stood up though by George Grant. It was doing defensive work. And Orient will keep it, and they send the ball in from the left-hand side, and Young just almost spills it, but he dives on the ball, does the Salford City goalkeeper, and it's 2-0 they lead. Just a couple of times recently, Connolly has got the better of Minoga, hasn't he? Yeah, it's remarkable, obviously. Screw it. Oh, we'll come back to this in just a second. Just a slight moment there where we both thought that Kelly might have launched onto the long ball from Matty Young, but keeper Cahill came out and headed it for a throw-in. Yeah, he was really composed in that moment, but obviously with prior moments we were just unsure of what decision he was about to make on that ball. But yeah, just going back to Connolly there, obviously he gets past Minoga, and that's the one I said, when you're behind an attacker, you're sort of in no man's land, and you've kind of got to let him go. And obviously the next man who's in there is George Grant, that comes and meets him. He goes and digs his mate out who misses the first tackle. But yeah, Salford, as soon as they have an opportunity that goes against them, they're straight back up the other end, trying to get another blow on top of Leyton Orient to stop any momentum. But with Connolly on this pitch, the way that he's playing in sort of little moments, the game could still be alive. Yeah, that is where the threat is coming from Leyton Orient, who trailed 2-0 here in the second round. Those Salford fans away to our left-hand side, you can hear shouting loud and proud. They've got the Callum Cisse song. You just heard them clap there on the Cisse, and Orient will clear it for a throw-in. Midway inside their own half with Haji Minoga over it, and Salford then 2-0 leaders. And Fabio Barini trots across in front of us here when doing his warm-ups. The rain's lessened a little bit, still coming down, but not as hard as it was about 10 minutes ago. And it is Salford City then. Callum Cisse, full of confidence. 5 goals in all competitions for him this season. And
Minoga has the ball just inside his own half and sends a long ball, and again Cahill has to come out of his goal and make sure that Udo, who's lurking, doesn't get near it, and he nods it to Simpson, who's being muscled by the aforementioned Callum Cisse, and George Grant will clip it clear and out for a throw-in to Leyton Orient on that left-hand side. And as the referee, we're going to have another change for Orient, and oncoming is for Leyton Orient, and they come on number 17, Josh Karoma on, and it is Azim Adulu who goes off then. So Richie Wellens again having to send on another change, Liam.
Yeah, I think he smells just a little bit of life now in the Leyton Orient side. They're sort of getting a bit more territory in terms of trying to get Connolly on the ball, but also the play looks a little bit faster, and I just think with the contributions that Karoma's had with his goals and assists, he can add to that sort of danger up top.
And that's where he has gone up alongside they've got Ballard now up there, who stayed on, of course, and also Alfie Lloyd too. So more attacking changes being made by Richie Wellens. Josh Cromer, 3 goals, 3 assists for him so far in all competitions this season. But it's Salford City who've got the ball. Turton rolls it to the right-hand touchline, and Haji Minoga. Lloyd comes up to try and block him. Ball clipped into the box, headed clear though by Happ. Bounces once, Ballard tries to clip it, draws the foul from Luke Garbett just inside the D in the centre circle of Orient's half. And they trail 2-0 then. Salford City looking to reach that third round again, the potential of another Premier League team, although they might not fancy going to Manchester City after what happened to them last season. But they did. Orient, who got them in the next round, panicked Pep, I think, a little bit. They were leading 1-0 with Orient in the 4th round last season before Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden had to come on, and De Bruyne got the winner. But still, great experience, isn't it?
Unbelievable experience.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Orient have the ball at the back, and it's Dan Happ who goes for the long ball, looking for Ballard, trying to get him behind a low, and Young does well, racing to the edge of his penalty box to get hold of it, and immediately overarms it to his captain, Luke Garbett. Salford 2, Leyton Orient 0. Total Sport, we're on BBC Radio Manchester, also on Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sounds as well today. First of 3 commentaries for you from the FA Cup tomorrow. Bolton at Swindon, and then on Sunday Macclesfield make the trip to Slough. Our updates too of Stockport against Cambridge, Wigan, Barrow and Oldham, who travel to MK Dons as well. So plenty of action coming your way on Total Sports. Manchester City in the Premier League, Sunderland, they host tomorrow. You can hear that on 95.1 FM on Total Sports. Claire then has the ball inside the centre circle for Leyton Orient, who can't find a way past Callum Cisse, who really has been everywhere. He's got the second goal for the Amis, the first from Kadeem Harris, both really well taken, drilled finishes. Kadeem Harris left-footed, well, both of them left-footed. Kadeem Harris in the first half, Callum Cisse in the second, and it's Dan Udo then who wins the ball back from a lacklustre Orient. Great turn by Cisse, fired over by Josh Osterfield, who might have done himself a bit of damage there on his right hamstring there as the ball came to him. He scooped it over the bar in the end, but great work again by Cisse, just the class, the turn, looked like he had so much time in the world to lay it onto the plate of Osterfield.
Yeah, they've recognised that with the pitch, Leyton Orient can't handle the ball, the short passes, the short connections, and you know, it's one of them difficult scorelines where you're 2-0 up, and do you carry on going with the impetus that you had of press and maybe sort of leave yourself exposed? Because what they've done now is obviously they've got sort of Connolly and Karoma on that left hand side, which is where the numbers have come from as well in terms of, you know, Karoma, Ballard and Connolly, for where they've got the goals and assists. But Salford have pressed again there in that moment, stole the ball, give themselves a great opportunity, and to be fair, they should be out of sight. There was 2 waiting for the pass, and Osterfield, he's sort of a little bit off balance and not ready to take his shot, and he's just lifted the ball over the crossbar.
Yeah, he has, and just a pause in play here. The players getting some drinks into them. Carl Robinson got his boys gathered around him as Matty Young received some treatments away to the right-hand side, the Salford City goalkeeper. So, you know, you sort of mentioned that kind of 2-0, slightly the cliches, the dangerous scoreline here. What would you reckon Carl's saying to them?
I think they've just got to carry on doing more of the same, because the moments that Leyton Orient have played forward, that the Salford line have dealt with that really, really well. They've mopped stuff up. They've had the second line in George Grant completely, marshalling that in the second balls, winning the duels. And in the top end of the pitch, Leyton Orient have tried to make short passes and progress up the pitch, and they've jumped all over them and created, really good opportunities. Listen, Leyton Orient are in a really tough spot here. They're going to have to throw everything at it. And I think with what's at the top end of Salford's pitch and how disciplined that back line and George Grant has marshalling in front of it, there's going to be more opportunities for Salford to take this game away from Leyton Orient completely. 90
minutes left then of normal time. FA Cup second round, Salford 2, Leyton Orient 0. Kadeem Harris in the first half. That second goal, by the way, has gone down as a Kelly and Mai goal coming off his knee. So the assist for Cisse, then it clipped in Mai's knee on the way into that bottom left-hand corner. And it is Connolly rushing down the right-hand side. He's got 2 Salford players around him, and it's won back by Josh Osterfield and clipped down the line from Luke Garb, but looking for Kelly and Mai, who's being marked by Omar Beckles. And it will be Clare who will get the ball and emerge from it on the right-hand side. Osterfield back to goal, tries to overhead clip it beyond him, and only sends it up into the night sky here as the rain stops, and it's Orient then who have that chance on goal. Oh, almost just opened up there, almost for Dom Ballard. Great though, sliding tackle coming in, and it's out for a throw-in to Leyton Orient on that far side. 2-0 they trail. Just over 15 minutes left on Total Sport of this, your first of 3 commentary games. It is then Orient who have the ball at the back. Clare enters the centre circle. Now it's on to Connolly, who's been their brightest spark. Right-footed, sends it down the line to Lloyd, the substitute. Lloyd goes for the effort, well wide, behind Matty Young's goal and into those travelling Leyton Orient fans. And it's 2-0 and a long trip back as it stands for them so far.
That's the first time I've really seen them play into midfield and be able to get turned and play a ball, and the movement from Alfie Lloyd was really good on the over shoulder of Turton to get in behind him. And again, if you're going to get those moments at 2-0 down, you can't just be lashing at things. You've got to have a real composure, go and take it closer to the goal and maybe give yourself a better opportunity. He takes that shot earlier, maybe because of lack of game time, I don't know, maybe because he's been on the bench and he's trying to still warm into this game.
Yep, goal kick going long. Udo collects it. Kadeem Harris sends it to Kelly and Mai. Left-hand edge of the box. Dangerous this for Salford City. Sliding tackle tries to come in, but Karras is on the overlap and he can't quite find the ball into the box, and Leyton Orient will clear. But George Grant, though, wins the ball back and wins himself his side a throw-in. I thought that came off Baconson, but the referee says no. And Leyton Orient, they can't do anything with their throw-in, and instead it's all the way back with Matty Young, who just slightly stumbles there as he sends the clearance long into the night sky. We've got 17 minutes left then. Salford 2, Leyton Orient 0. And again, Callum Cisse, he's been absolutely everywhere, chasing every ball down and forces keeper Killian Cahill to send it out for a throw-in to the Ammies.
No, they haven't given him a minute all night, and from that they regain possession. From what could be a simple kick, if he gives up that run, for them to punt the ball onto the back line, Callum takes that chance and breaks sort of his position, goes to press, and the goalie manages to kick the ball out of play and gives it you back. So he's been really positive. He's shown loads of energy. How long can he keep it up? We're not too sure, but if he can manage to stay on this full game, he's going to be really pivotal in this last sort of 20 minutes.
Yeah, having a great season so far, and this is dangerous though for Salford City. It's Karama who's down the left-hand side into the box, lays it back, bobbling effort wide of goal. Bobbling effort just came off Sean Clare, and I think the pitch did Salford a few favours there, because his right-footed effort ended up going well wide of Matty Young's goal then. So a couple of desperate efforts by Leyton Orient. They've had a couple, haven't they, from outside the box, first time shots which haven't troubled Young.
Yeah, again, that danger though in terms of Salford having possession and then losing it, and then finding that quick pass again out to Karoma, who obviously has just come on again himself. We talk about warming into the game. You've got to have an instant impact. You've got to be ready to come on and ready to deliver. He wasn't quite ready in that moment, but he does manage to find the ball to his teammate on the edge. And on a pitch like this, you're probably going to have to take touches. Getting a first-time strike-off is going to be very difficult.
They're flooding forward this time again through Connolly, and this time he does win his side a free kick. He had 3 Salford players muscling him out of the way as he pounded forward towards the penalty box. And now this is dangerous for Salford City. It's a free kick to the visitors, just on the edge, just to the left of the D on the edge of the penalty box. And Richie Wellens looks to be preparing another couple of changes, his final ones of the night, as they go all for broke here to the League One side. They trail 2-0 with 15 minutes left of this first half. But this, though, they've got to withstand this free kick here, haven't they, Liam?
Yeah, and obviously the quality that's going to be around it. I think it'll be Charlie Wellens to probably hit it. He's probably got most of the goal to the right-hand side from where we're looking at it to probably hit. And obviously, Young in goal, Matty Young. He's had probably one save in the second half, which was from distance. So obviously this will be the first probably real action that he's going to have to face, and it's going to be really important. Maybe if the wall stays big, tries to help him on that left-hand side.
So there's a 4-man wall, then a gap, and then George Grant. It is going to be Wellens then, who stutters in his run-up, sends it in straight into the wall. It does do its job, as Liam Hogan says, but then a fired-in effort. For a second, looked like it might have been going into the corner of the goal, but it has gone wide from Bakinson via a deflection. So a corner kick then to Leyton Orient there. So 2 chances. The first one blasted against the free kick. The second took a deflection and ended up wide of the goal. But 14 minutes left. And the goal for Leyton Orient all of a sudden would really put the pressure on Salford, who have that 2-goal cushion at the moment, as Wellens goes across again to take this set piece. It's going to be an outswinger down in front of the Leyton Orient fans. The son of Richie raises his left arm with the blue shirts. Clips going for the front post, headed down and away there by Minoga, and will be brought further clear by Udo, who sends it to Kelly and Mai, who's got all the time to send it even further on to Callum Cisse now into the box. Cisse being shown wide by Bakinson, who does well, to be fair to him, the Leyton Orient substitution, and the ball eventually comes off Kelly and Mai and out for a goal kick to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why we said just then Matty Young's probably not had a lot to do tonight. The wall again, massively brave. Pretty much any time that Leyton Orient players look to gain themselves a bit of a space, there's been a red shirt straight in the face, ready to take it at full pelt and stop him from having to make too many saves. Again, they do well with a set piece that's against them. Break, lots of energy, matched by Callum Cisse, a run from deep. He's in the box defending, and now he's on the end of it in the other 18-yard box. Just couldn't quite get to the byline to get past his man. It was probably well marshalled, but the second after that, there's 2 red bodies just following him up, ready to put pressure on them again.
One of those bodies was Dan Udo, who it came off for a goal kick, and he's just taken a slight knock there, has the Salford City striker, and he and Josh Osterfield will be withdrawn. Osterfield going off first for Salford City. He's had a decent game so far, and in fact Udo is now being replaced by Fabio Barini. So off goes Josh Osterfield, and on comes Butcher. That's a reverse of how the team started, with Osterfield in for Butcher from the start, and then Udo goes off, and on comes Fabio Barini. So an FA Cup winner now on the park for Salford City. Not a bad substitution to bring on, Liam.
No, and I think that's the right one as well, because within the ranks they also have Cole Stockton, who's, like I said, more of a platform player in terms of he'll be looking at the press still. Carl Robinson and Barini obviously being in those spaces in front and not really playing up against the centre back, which is what's caused them problems all night. And then obviously in Matt Butcher coming on, you've got a physical presence and just a little bit of freshness in midfield to help support what will be, well, I would like to think, tiring legs from Callum Cisse. But I think part of it is the way that George Grant behind them has really sort of dictated, not play because there's not been too many passes, but he's dictated the structure. He's been there when the defence has mopped up, and he's supported the sort of energy from the 2 8s, I will call them, when they're trying to get forward. If they did give the possession away, he's supporting behind, shielding the defenders. So it's been a really, really well organised performance from Salford.
Yeah, and it's a clean sheet so far. They lead 2-0, just over 10 minutes left then before they could potentially be in that third round draw. Another substitution, the last of the dice for Richie Wellens. He brings on Teo Adam Romaloa, the Crystal Palace loanee, on for the captain Omar Beckles, and he's right into the heart of the action and down that left-hand side. Now Connolly tries to send the ball infield, but Salford get in the way, and it's Cisse still on that pitch, having a fantastic performance so far. His drilled effort we thought would go down as him in terms of the credit for the second goal, but it has gone down off a slight deflection from the knee of Kelly and Meyer, which made it nestle in the left-hand corner of the goal. That probably sums up Leyton Orient's night. That does Dan Happ trying to play a simple pass to Teo Adaroloa, and it goes out for a throw-in to Salford.
That's just an accumulation of the whole night of them not having a minute when sort of trying to find passes they probably connect, when they've been playing in the league and looking so well and free scoring. Salford literally haven't given them any respect in terms of that and allowed them to creep up the pitch. They've just been slammed, shut the door, and that's what happens. It plays on the mental side of the game, and simple things and simple actions become more difficult. They've just not had a chance to breathe at all in the whole game.
9 minutes left on Total Sports. BBC Radio Manchester are on Sports Extra 3 and BBC Sounds as well for you tonight, and Salford are closing in on a spot in that third round, and they do it, Liam, as well by getting past 2 League One oppositions as well. Lincoln on penalties in the last round, and now hopefully Leyton Orient.
Yeah, but that goes back to the Luke Garbutt statement that he made, saying they don't fear anybody. They're trying to raise the profile off the pitch, but they're also trying to climb the leagues again. They're trying to start that run of trying to, get this club up the leagues. And on display tonight, they're not a million miles away at all. And, turning over a Lincoln side, albeit it was on penalties, and doing what they're doing at the minute to this Leyton Orient side is no mean feat.
Who have got the ball though just outside the box, and the slid pass tried to send in Connolly, but it was intercepted by Salford, who've got all their players back inside their own half. They're offering that shield in front of Matty Young's goal, and Orient have got to try and find and pick a way past them as we enter the final 8 minutes of the 90. And it's with Bakinson, who sends it across the centre circle to the Crystal Palace loanee Adarmaloa. And now Connolly clips the ball forward, looking for Wellens, brings it down inside the box. He's being muscled, but he sends it further across into the centre. It's cleared though by Salford, and Barini tries to get the foot under the ball, but it's Clare who emerges clear from it. And now again, this one down the left-hand side for Leyton Orient. Ball into the box, diving body blocks it. Side-footed shot comes in again. More bodies get in the way, and this is probably what these last 7 or so minutes are going to be, plus whatever added on time we're going to have here, because it's Salford 2, Leyton Orient 0. Richie Wellens has used all his 5 subs, and they're putting everything forward. Are Leyton Orient, but Salford standing firm. They've got that grit, that determination, which I think this season is markedly up from last couple of campaigns. And Simpson steps on the ball on the halfway line. Barini brings it forward. Simpson does get back. Barini though does well to hold the ball up, and now it's Kelly and Mai, and it's into the gams of the goalkeeper. That could have been the cherry on top of the cake, but it was straight at the goalkeeper Killian Cahill, who sends Orient clear. 2-0, they lead Salford.
Yeah, I can't see it in terms of Willie Roo, those 2 chances from Osterfield and Mai particularly, because I don't see Leyton Orient, I don't see them really affecting, unless there's a lapse in concentration with Salford, because if you're Alex Bruce and if you're Carl Robinson, as much as the attacking play has been good in moments,
as the ball is clipped forwards looking for Lloyd, but it goes out of play.
The defensive side of the game has been, absolutely spot on. And when they've had to put bodies on the line, when they've had to duel, when they've had to be organised on a rest defence, which can be quite difficult when you play counter-attacking football, because the game can come quite basketball. They've marshalled all that side of the stuff so well, and I think he'll probably be more pleased now with the clean sheet than he is with scoring any more goals in this game, because he knows they're still creating those opportunities. Leyton Orient keep making mistakes. They're desperate, trying to find a way in, and there's just complete shutout. Salford have been great value for money.
They've been great value, and they've looked comfortable, haven't you? I mean, we've said it a couple of times. You wouldn't know which of these 2 teams was League One and which one was League Two, because Salford are out smart and are out fighting. They've got more quality than the visiting side, who have got given away a throw-in just in front of us here at the Peninsula Stadium. Luke Garbutt will trot across to take it on the left-hand side as we enter the final 5 minutes of this one then. The first of 3 commentaries for you on Total Sport from the FA Cup, and it's going well for the Greater Manchester side so far, and Meyer will win himself a free kick. Will he? No, he won't. It's gone against him. Battling with 2 Leyton Orient players who will try to take it quick. But Benjamin Speedy, the referee, tells them to hang on and will go again.
Yeah, I think potentially a bit unfair on Amai there. He seems to roll his man again. He's been great at that all night, in wriggling away from his defender, and sort of pulled down and gets done for the actual foul himself for being on the floor. As Leyton Orient just come forward on this left-hand side again.
Yeah, they do, and it's Lloyd who tried to bring the ball under control, and it's out of play off the boots of Ollie Turton. On that far-hand side, the left hand, as Leyton Orient look to attack and look to step inside, but they have the ball instead at the back with Happ, and now Bakinson on the halfway line. Wellens looks to make a run down the right-hand channel. Instead, he just goes short to Simpson. And again, bit of slow possession this from Leyton Orient, considering they've got less than 5 minutes to try and find a way back into this one. Baconson inside the centre circle. History repeats itself as he plays it simply to Jack Simpson and Connolly. This one, well fought, well won by Kelly and Mai, who drives forward now. He's up against Hope, and Mai cuts inside, and it falls to George Grant, who fires an effort straight at the goalkeeper. Ball spills loose. Barini's on it. Fabio Barini sends Salford City into the FA Cup third round for the second consecutive year. They have overcome League One opposition again as he punches his fists. He looks at the Salford fans with delight. The players go across and hug the man that has sent them into that round. A consummate performance from the Ammies. It's Salford City 3, Leyton Orient 0.
Yeah, the goal might have been scored from Matt Butcher, but again, I think the night again belongs to Callum Cisse. Nicks the ball in midfield once again and drives forward. Gets himself into the position where he can. Couple of little fortunate breaks, but like the desire that Carl Robinson spoke about, numbers, bodies in the box, following in any rebounds. Matt Butcher straight there to make no mistake, lashes the ball home. Callum Cisse, excellent once again.
Yeah, really good stuff from Salford City. And that thump in from those Salford fans who know that they are going into the third round of the FA Cup, and it is the man who's lifted the trophy with Chelsea back in 2010 that got the third one, Fabio Barini. Back now with Dan Hope as we enter the final 2 minutes of normal time. What a night this is for Salford City. You can hear those fans chanting. They've been royally treated this evening. 3-0 up against Richie Wellens' Leyton Orient. As Wellens' son, Callum, fires it across the box. No Orient players, though, following up. And we're here through till 10 o'clock on Total Sport. So plenty of reaction to come. We'll bring you Carl Robinson live. And Richie Wellens, cries of sacked in the morning directed towards him by the Salford City fans. Takes it in good grace. Salford 3, Leyton Orient 0. 1 minute left of normal time. Tricky to kind of pick a player of the match, is it? Or is it Callum Cisse?
I think there's two. I mean, any of the Salford players tonight have done, the badge, the town of Salford, they've done amazing. The way that they've shown everything that Carl Robinson spoke about prior to the game and what they've been trying to build here as a culture, they've shown in an abundance. They're in again here at the other end.
They're in again here. The ball spirals loose to Kadeem Harris. He darts inside. Kadeem Harris, just wide of the right-hand post. He was going across the goalkeeper, Cahill. It nearly nestled in that corner. It just went wide, but a great opportunity again. Kadeem Harris, he got the opener, almost capped it off with the finisher. Salford stay 3-0 up against Leyton Orient into the final minute of normal time, and they have dismantled the O's here at the Peninsula Stadium. Almost a fourth, Liam.
Yeah, and that might have swayed a decision that I was about to make, because I think it's really close between Callum Cisse, and I have to give a mention for Kadeem Harris, particularly in that first half. Every time he's got the ball, he's managed to go past his defender. He's caused all sorts of problems. But for me, I just think for what epitomised the Salford performance tonight was the energy, from the desire, from the willingness to jump from your position and to go and commit yourself and sort of give your all. And I think Callum Cisse has epitomised all that. I think he probably just sort of nudges it out from Kadeem, who's probably unfortunate, because in any other game he'd be streets ahead. The whole Salford team as a self, if you was to watch this, it wouldn't look like it was a cup upset. It's been so convincing from Salford. If you look at the league table, then you say it is a big upset. But Salford as a whole, defensive unit and as an attacking presence, what more can you ask for from Carl Robinson?
3 goals, clean sheet so far as we enter 6 minutes of added on time. And effort fired in on goal, and this could be Kelly Amaya then, who sent free. Kelly Amaya, Salford 3-0 up. Is it 4? It is 4! Salford City, a famous night at the Peninsula Stadium. They are into the FA Cup third round in absolute style. As Kelly Amaya spirals and does the aeroplane in front of the Salford City fans celebrating, who come down to the advertising hoardings to high five their man. That is Salford City 4. That is Leyton Orient 0. And there is a little bit of a scuffle just going on in the middle of the park at the moment. Callum Cisse being involved in it. It happened off the ball. Frustrations from the Orient we can understand. Not sure why Callum Cisse is having words there. There's a few players just congregated in the middle talking. The referee's walked away from it, but they're still going at it. Callum Connolly's involved there as well. But that won't take away from Kelly Amaya, who was off celebrating 4-0. What a finish.
That was just emotions boiling over, I think, in terms of Leyton Orient, the frustration. I think Callum Cisse in particular has got under the skin tonight, been in their face. But that's the type of goal I've watched Leyton Orient concede over the last sort of couple of games, and the composure for Kelly Amaya, even though he's still got quite a long distance to go with the keeper still in front of him, he slots it home with an abundance of confidence. And like you say, it looks like they were trying to push forward Leyton Orient, but in all honesty, the rest defence, they were just absolutely all over the place, and they've been absolutely done tonight. They haven't managed to lay a glove on Salford whatsoever. Salford absolutely stormed through to the next round.
They certainly have. Yellow card to Tyreek Baconson. There you go, cries of easy. And it has been easy up against Leyton Orient. Salford have put in a magnificent performance, and once Kelly Amaya was sent through there was no doubt there in anyone's mind, I think, that he was going to slide it into the bottom corner of the goal in front of those Salford City fans. And probably quite rightly, Callum Cisse receives a standing ovation and a substitution as he leaves the pitch. What a night he's had, end to end, from Salford City's hero, as Longolu comes onto the pitch for the final knockings of this one. 3 minutes left of normal time. Had his goal taken off him by Kelly Amaya's knee, but brilliant performance from Callum Cisse.
Yeah, from what I've watched tonight, that's a bit of a manager's dream, really, to have that type of player on the pitch. Youth, exuberance, energy, the way he can glide from box to box. He's got pace, and he's got a bite about him. He's got a massive bite about him. He gets stuck in. He's obviously rubbing up the opposition in the wrong way. That type of game management to sort of put the mental state of the opposition off. Maybe he was up against, there was 2 or 3 of them around him in the little melee. So he's obviously, from whatever he's done in the game, he's obviously boiled a few of their blood, and that's exactly what you want from in a game that could be quite tight from what we looked at from the start of the game. To be so sort of one-sided is all down to the way that they've gone about the business tonight.
Kelly Amaya goes for an effort just to the left of the box, straight at the goalkeeper though. Shoot on sight, why not? He's on a hat-trick. 2 minutes left of this one. Salford City 4, Leyton Orient 0. The first of this weekend's FA Cup fixtures has really delivered here at a delirious Peninsula Stadium. Kadeem Harris, Kelly Amaya's knee, Fabio Barini and Kelly Amaya again with a fine finish to put Salford into that third round draw. The first of our sides to do so. 100% records. As we predicted, we said goals, but we thought it might be a bit tighter than this, Liam. But we have seen 4 of them from Salford City tonight, as the ball is just cleared inside their own box. And 2 minutes left of normal time. Throw into Leyton Orient. Yeah, we thought there'd be goals. We thought Orient would get a few of them. They didn't.
Yeah, 4 and 4 in the Crawley game as well, in front of your home crowd. Yeah. Like I said to you, Cal spoke about the dominance in the way they were trying to play and control teams and put pressure on teams, and sort of not turning those numbers. I think they're on like something like a -1 goal difference just outside the playoffs, which tells me they were conceding quite a few, as well as putting the ball in. Tonight they've done both sides of the game excellently well, and the 4 goals and a clean sheet. What more can Carl Robinson ask for?
Well, we'll find out after, when we talk to him on Total Sport, through until 10 o'clock as Butcher sends it down the line, and Orient will face an unhappy trip back down south tonight. on a Friday night that will be remembered for many years in Salford. The second time in succession that they've knocked out League One opposition, and this one a lot easier than the penalties they did to get past Lincoln in the last round, and make sure that they are in that third round draw. Referee Speedy takes a look at his watch as we tick past the final moments of a memorable night for Salford City as the fans rise to their feet as one. What a performance from the Ammies. They have breezed into that third round, really. 4-0 against League One opposition Leyton Orient. Salford on the front foot from the very start. Impressive in that first half. Kadeem Harris had them ahead at the break. The second half, Callum Cesse's effort turned in for the knee of Kelly and Mai. Fabio Barini as well, when he came off the bench, got the third, and it was Kelly and Mai who finished it off in the end in absolute style. Salford City 4, Leyton Orient 0, and Salford are into the third round of the FA Cup.
Yeah, very, very impressive, and I'll probably give a side of the game that obviously I love to see, and that's the defensive side of things, and being secure, being brave, throwing your body on the line, making the right decisions at the right time to give your keeper the least possible sort of work to do all night. And if I knew I had that front line in front of me with that energy, with that sort of drive, with that skill to take and go past players, I'd just be quite happy to do my job and sit and serve and defend and sort of do that. And what Cal's obviously built here, to have that freedom and creativity and pace and power at the top end of the pitch. I think George Grant was really sort of pivotal in that moment in the middle of the pitch to sort of bring both sides of the game together. He managed that front to back really well. But then obviously the goals will get all the headlines, obviously, but the defensive performance for the moments that Connolly may have had and the times that the ball did enter in their box, they were like brick walls, red brick wall, and shut absolutely everything down. One of the most complete performances I've actually seen.
And Carl Robinson's got his players in a circle, in the centre circle, all of them in there, and the support staff as well. And he is, as he always is, emphasising things with his hands. But they will be saying, won't he, Liam, that you should be very proud of yourself. You worked hard to get that win. Really impressive on TV as well, on radio. I mean, we spoke beforehand a little bit about kind of like the showcasing of their talent that they've got in this squad, and what a night to do it on the platform.
Massively, and all that showcase has been put out there now. As a manager, your players have just run through absolute brick walls to defend. Moments when players were eliminated by a little dribble or a moment that could have come out, the next red shirt's there to block, and the commitment to get from back to front as a unit rather than it just being an attacking unit and a defensive unit and big spaces. The structure, the compactness of the team in all the areas of the game. Carl will probably look at the analysis and look back at that, and they'll find bits that they can tweak and sort of hopefully take into a league campaign off the back of this, because this should give this group of players a massive sort of boost, really, to show that they can go and compete with teams that Leyton Orient just missed out last year on trying to get promotion. And like we go back to now, it's the consistency. Can they throw performances like this together more and more? We know it asks for a high demand of sort of physicality, fitness, and focus, but they've shown it in absolute, like I said, an abundance tonight. They can do it. So if they can start to put that together off the back of hopefully getting an amazing draw now in the third round, they deserve it off that performance, complete performance I spoke about. They can take that straight into their league form now.
Captain Luke Garbutt fist pumps in front of the Salford fans. A few of them got their tops off. Don't know if that's why it's on such a cold night, but they will have plenty of fire running through their veins after that performance. And we'll bring you reaction before 10 o'clock as Dirty Old Town rings around the Peninsula Stadium. A few fans very much still here celebrating that win. Callum Cesse speaking to our colleagues on TV along with Kelly and Mai. We'll hope to get one of those as well if we can before 10 on Total Sports. You mentioned complete performance. Everyone absolutely on point tonight. Fired up for it as well were Salford City, as Matty Young, clean sheet to his name, hugs a few of the fans just in front of us as he goes and has a few words, and and we'll probably sign a few autographs and take some selfies as well. But for Callum Cisse, in terms of kind of individuals tonight, 23-year-old to put in a performance like that, to be everywhere. I mean, he's got the energy levels. That probably helps as to why he can get up and down so quickly with his youth. But and to wind the opposition up as well. I mean, it's kind of more an experienced head on a young kind of shoulders, if you like. And
he's probably got a lot of support. I've mentioned him lots tonight. George Grant behind him. He'll probably be a constant sort of verbal in his ear to manage him in moments where don't get too high, too low in the game. You hear it spoken about a lot. But listen, when you've got a confidence and an aura about you where it's a bit, like I said to you, it's a bit of an arrogance, but it's a good arrogance where he completely believes in himself. His teammates obviously believe in him because they let him go and do those types of things and jump from his slot and cover him. But what rewards they get off the back of it, and what rewards, if you're nicking it in the final third of a defence, to have Udo and Kadeem Harris and Kelly and Maya in front of you, because tonight they were absolutely, I probably would say the slight criticism was at the moment when it was 2-0 and they had a couple of chances that they blazed, and I thought could Leyton Orient maybe go down the other end and maybe sort of put a bit of pressure towards the back end of the game, but that's probably a tiny criticism, because the goals that we scored have been fantastic goals, and from what the plan that we saw in the very first minute where Udo was putting pressure on Beckles and closing down, that stayed and remained throughout the whole game, and the intensity levels were immaculate.
They were, weren't they? And that's something obviously that they've been working incredibly hard on in training, to be able to do a performance like that. And it was definitely the performance of this season, probably of recent memories, in terms of everything that went well together. There was, that 2-0, as you said, was 1-0 at half-time. 1-0 at half-time, but it wasn't like, it didn't feel like a dangerous score because they'd kept Orient out so well, that backline.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, there was one or two moments when Salford did go after press and Leyton Orient did manage to get maybe a couple of passes. They did look sharp in them moments. And on a day, or maybe another day, if a team comes here that a more possession-based side, when you're having to jump into those slots all the time and defend and sort of do what Salford did to Leyton Orient and turn out of your duel and sort of make Salford do more desperation defending, then that becomes more tiring. I think tonight, like I said to you, it was so obvious that Leyton Orient were going to make a certain style of pass that the defender behind could jump in on that and nick it. Teams that have a bit of guile, craft and sort of disguising pass, they can sort of wear you down a little bit by you gambling on a jump and sort of taking you out of the picture a little bit. But Leyton Orient didn't have the players to do that tonight. I mean, Connolly had a few flashes, a few glimpses, Ballard had maybe one. I mean, look at him now, he's still full of energy, he's still running.
Yeah, Callum Cisse running across with the Salford mascot to those Salford fans that are still there, punching the air, taking the applause. There's the chant, the Cisse chant, as he makes his way off the pitch. He's smiling. We mentioned him, what a character, but it looks like you'd enjoy tonight, but he has got that plays with a smile on his face.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's going to carry on running till tomorrow. I'm pretty sure the gaffer needs to tell him he needs a cool down. Recovery day. He probably doesn't need a recovery day. It's just us old folks that need them recovery days, I'm telling you. But yeah, listen, he's going to have a massive high off the back of this, and what a decision it was for Cal to make that type of change, to bring him into a game of this sort of magnitude, playing up against a League One side. It'll put him on the map, but what Cal wanted out of the game was to get recognition for Salford City and the way that they're going about with the way they play their football. They handle what we can see now is there's areas on this pitch that are quite sort of churned up, and the wind and the rain, they handled the ball a lot better than a League One side tonight and picked their moments of when to attack, and Callum Cisse was the driving force from midfield.
He was the driving force. You can have your say at BBC RM Sport. We're on X. Salford 4, Orient 0. Absolute thrashing by the League One side, who've reached the third round for the second year running, the second time in their history as well. Mike maybe sums it up here. He says, "Am I dreaming?" 3 question marks. Mike, you're not. This is real.
Yeah, as real as it gets, and that was if I was to sum up a Salford performance and what a Salford fan would want to come and see from a game, that was exactly it. It was the determination, grit to keep the ball at the net at one end, and then obviously the the energy to go and commit yourselves to get on the end and get the ball in the back of the net, get shots off. Bear in mind they played some territory work, they played some lovely one-touch stuff in the first half also. Like I said, it was a complete well-rounded performance from Salford, and as a Salford fan you'll be leaving tonight feeling very buoyed about that.
Jamie, Salford City look more like Manchester United than Manchester United do. I think he's enjoyed that one, as Jamie. At BBC Ireland Sport, you can have your say. A couple as well pointing to the influence of Fabio Borini, who came off the bench to get the third goal. Ben says Fabio Borini's first goal in the FA Cup is for Salford City in 2025. Really is the magic of the competition. Jason, Fabio Borini has scored for Salford. Life is not real. I mean, it was between his last appearance for Sunderland and in the FA Cup and his first appearance for Salford in the win over Lincoln, in which he started, just the 3,210 days between those two FA Cup appearances for Fabio Borini as he went across the land. But we've got someone with that experience to come on.
Yeah, exactly, and to lead a line and to learn from him in training and stuff. We talk about the Paul Scholes moment of being able to deliver sort of information. Fabio Borini can deliver that too to his front line also. And what's great to see here is the connection now between fans and players. And I'm sort of one on the fence for a little bit, because most of the players have gone in the dressing room now, and I'll be like, come on, we're all in it together, get yourself in here. But I totally get this now. I totally get this side of the game and having that impact, because what I spoke about earlier on in the game was getting the crowd on your side. Obviously they're on your side, they support you through the thick and thin. But in a game, it's a cold night, you're going to have to give them something to sort of jump off the seats and shout about. And I think the top end of the pitch, when they press really well and turn the ball over. And the defensive stuff where they're putting in blocks, that gets people off seats. And this is the sort of connection that you want to see now, and the connection that grows, because you want to identify with what's out on the pitch. And like I just said to you there, the 11 and the subs that came on turned out a performance that Salford, any Salford sort of supporter will be proud of.
Yeah, the last player in front of us who is now signing autographs, taking selfies, is Kelly and Mai. He's got lots of kids around him as well. There's a kid he's got a crown on, probably his birthday. What a night if it is your birthday. It is actually the birthday tomorrow of Ollie Turton, who will turn 33. I mean, you couldn't wish for probably a better night to celebrate, could you? 4-0, reaching the FA Cup third round. Haji Minoga as well, a little bit further down the touchline, having some pictures taken with those Salford fans. And I think, as you said, that connection between the supporters and the players, it's also things like, from next season, Salford are returning to their orange strip, kind of like the original sort of Salford City colours. Obviously, since the class of 92 came in, they had the red strip and a bit before that, but they're going back to orange. Part of the reason why Carl Robinson really likes that is because he said to us that it makes them stand out. Makes them stand out in Greater Manchester, makes them stand out in Salford when you're walking around. If you see orange shirts, you'll associate with Salford City, whereas you see red, you might think United.
Yeah, well, obviously previously, before I joined Salford, that was the colour that I obviously knew that they played in with when I watched, like I said, at the Willows and stuff. And what's really difficult is to really grow something that's like artificial and sort of the true colours not showing in the end. And I think if they can get that right and build that sort of honesty between the club and the fans and what they really want, and getting what the supporters want, and for Gary Neville and the club to sort of look into and take on board what the life of the club, the supporters, so for their opinion to be put in to play back in orange, and the club to be able to do that, it just shows there's a bond that's building, a real sort of true bond that's building, and a natural bond that builds will grow further than sort of an artificial one will. And I think that's what the Salford supporters want to see, and I think that's what will bring more and more sort of into this sort of stadium really, and fill it again.
I mean, obviously you've played, you've captained, you've led them to promotions. Do you think are you seeing anything, I don't know, different, or they had the investment, that now they've got more of a kind of, or they're hoping to get more of like a global kind of brand at the moment, aren't they? They've kind of got these now investors from America as well involved. Obviously Beckham and Neville are now kind of spearheading that, rather than the other class of 92 who are still involved, still in the sort of in the training. Paul Scholes is as well. But do you think that now they're, I don't know, ready to kind of make that jump?
Yeah, no, listen, obviously Gary's a very, very successful businessman, and obviously I'm not. So in terms of that side of things, when you got to get the balance right, and Wrexham obviously I thought did really, really well. I think Stockport again did really, really well in terms of, you know, the owner Mark Stock coming in and being a Stockport fan and having the community at sort of the community in the academy he had at one of his priorities, and he's followed up on that stuff, and Wrexham as well, obviously trying to be global, and you know, you think Hollywood, Wrexham, you know, where does it fit? But for what they've done and how they've sort of developed it, and having the success on the pitch at the same time, has been able to make that grow. And I think similarly here, they're going to try and grow the brand of Salford, you know, and a wider audience to the global side of things. But you've also got to keep its roots, and I think they've tried to do that in the moments of, obviously, when they were in the non-league or they were in sort of, you know, the National League, the players and the club feels closer to the fan base, so you're all as one. And sometimes you can sort of lose that feel a little bit when you start investing money and there becomes a distance between sort of the supporters and the players. And tonight, from what I've watched, from what I've seen, it's close again. Do you know what I mean? It's close, and that'll what will drive the club. I remember we played a game when I played for Stockport. We played Bolton. I think there was 10,000 in the stadium, and it just felt a snowball moment from the club. Just snowballed and carried on. And Wrexham was the same when they managed to fill it. And those types of moments when you sort of come down as a young fan, or you come down and you see the connection between that. You're telling your mate, I was down at Salford, on Friday. But come down the next one.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And more people see it on the TV. They've just seen a performance like they've just seen on the TV tonight.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's the quality of the performance that you'd want to come and watch them play, wouldn't you? You want to come and see them.
Well, you're not looking at this thinking that Salford, from 90 minutes backwards, were just in the game as a fighter's chance, one fighter's punch. They weren't. They were completely convincing. They made Leyton Orient look like a side that played lower down the pyramid, and really professional about all the business, dogged, and I keep going back to the you know, it represents the industry of what Salford is.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's the kind of the club that, like, you know, people in this area now should, you know, kind of maybe gravitate towards, as my notes go spiralling away in the breeze. That was terrible reflexes from me. It is Total Sports. It is BBC Radio Manchester. We're going to get some reaction very shortly from the Salford City head coach, Carl Robinson, who is away to our right-hand side under the camera lights for telly, being interviewed by Kelly Cates, but we should get him certainly before 10 o'clock. I'd hope they don't do a 20-minute interview and we're sitting here like lemons waiting for him to come across. It is Alex Whittington alongside Liam Hogan. Your thoughts welcome as well at BBC RM Sport. An absolutely comprehensive, thrilling performance by Salford City 4, Leyton Orient 0 this weekend as well. We've got games, Bolton at Swindon tomorrow afternoon from 3. That's your commentary game. Updates of Stockport, who host Cambridge. Wigan have got Barrow, and Oldham are making the trip to MK Dons. So reports from those games, commentary of Bolton, and then on Sunday it is Macclesfield FC who are looking to reach that third round for the first time since they reformed. They go to Slough at 12:30 kickoff, that one. You can hear all of these games on BBC Sounds, and it's also the place where you got your club page as well. If you haven't looked at it yet, make sure you check it out. It's where you can get reaction, analysis, debates, interviews with your players and managers on those club feeds. So Salford City fans, make sure, if you haven't already, look at Salford City on BBC Sounds, click subscribe, and you won't miss anything that drops on there. Right, so 20 minutes left then until the late show takes over with Joe Good. In terms of kind of other, I guess, individuals, Liam, that we picked out, we picked out Callum Cisse. We've talked about Kadeem Harris as well. You mentioned George Grant in that kind of like holding role. Luke Garbett, we heard from him beforehand and talking about how they don't fear anyone. We spoke about him beforehand, and again puts in that captain's performance as a captain here yourself. Impressive.
Yeah, like you say, there's loads of different types of captains and the way that they sort of come across. There's vocalists, there's just leaders on the pitch, and I think he's a I've spoken to him. I've been around him quite a bit now, so he speaks really well. He speaks maturely, but his performance is mature. His performance is a leader, probably from the front, really. and in his duels, straight in there, doesn't sort of phase anything, and it sort of sets a tone, really. There was a moment in the game where he's come from left centre back and he goes to press a midfielder, ball goes back to a centre back, he goes to press the centre back, he goes across. Four separate presses he does from left centre back, and that's just a signal. It's not a vocal signal, it's just a signal from the team of, we need to keep this intensity up, we need to keep getting in the faces of Leyton Orient players, because they're not going to be able to settle into this game and play the types of football that they've been able to play maybe in other games that have got them those types of goals.
And you're seeing that as a young player, aren't you, as well? Callum Cisse, we saw him do that all game. If you're one of the youngsters, you're seeing your captain do that, you're following him, aren't you?
Yeah, you're following him, but at the same time you're following him, but across this back line you've got to, and you've also got Kadeem Harris on the other side, and the minute they saw him go, they sort of were like, well, there's a gap that he's left there now, so we need to fill that in. George Grant immediately, where's Luke come from, kind of fill that in, and that's what happened throughout the whole game. It was a trigger from a press to jump. When the next pass came to a Leyton Orient player, that's my space, I've got to go in there. The other two players that were sort of supporting got round and compact the space, so there was no little connections for him to get in behind and sort of break the lines, and that never happened in the whole game, just because of how organised, and there's probably a lot of detail that's gone into it on the training ground from Carl and from Alex, but also from the experienced players on the pitch. And like I said, with Luke doing the A licence and some other really experienced, they know that tactical side, they can manage and sort of be the managers on the pitch to help the younger players like Cisse's and that to help thrive really in that environment.
Yeah, I bet that helps him as well, doing those courses, in terms of obviously that, like as you say, the tactical analysis of it, the leadership, even more so as well. Carl Robinson just about to join us. Are you right to give you
congratulations? That was unbelievable. Really well done.
Do you want to just take that mic?
Can you speak now? No,
Liam now can't speak. What a night. Congratulations, third round.
I've been lucky since I've been here. We've now got to the third round in 2 seasons on the spin. Let's look at the whole. Someone just said to me, in my 100th game's the next one. In that period, well, it was this fella to my left told me. In that period, we've been 1 point off the playoffs. We've been second in the league. We've been in the playoffs consistently over the last 12 to 18 months, and twice in 2 consecutive seasons we've found in the third round of the FA Cup. New owners, slightly different direction, but an awful lot of excitement. And I think today we've won 4 out of 6 games against League One opponents. That in itself is testament to the players, really. And but the game plan, it's okay putting a game plan together. Respectfully, it's easy putting a game plan together against a good team, because there's consistent movement patterns within their team that you can sort of, well, we get that right, and then but then sometimes against good teams, I thought Connolly was one of the best players on the pitch today. He was a top talent.
He was a threat, wasn't he?
He was brilliant. So you then when your tactics don't work, you've got quality players with moments of brilliance. I'm really pleased for Dave did the leading goal scorers. So we've now beat the team who were top in Lincoln, who were top of last weekend, and the leading goal scorers in the league above us. You've got to get in that league to compete, and we'll be all right.
But you were dominant as well, weren't you? Tonight, I know 4-0 is a dominant score, and obviously, but I thought
it was deserved. One shot on target they had. The league's leading goal scorers, a one-shot target. That's a testament to my players.
And it was from the off as well. From the very first minute, you were just on it, hustling, hurry them, the high press.
Yeah, obviously
intense.
The cameras are here today, and some players certain people who haven't seen it before, just with Joe Cole then and Kevin Nolan, and I think they're really impressed by the energy, but also, do you know what? There's a little cheeky swagger to our lads, isn't there?
There is.
Joe, if anything's Salford, it's the little swagger that they've got, and do you know what? It's not an arrogant swagger. It's almost like there's so much humility that they carry within themselves that they can have fun at each other,
and they're enjoying that as well. That comes with the swagger, doesn't it?
People listening to this, right? And I always have to say this: the greatest job in the world is being a professional footballer. Why would you not have a swagger? Why would you not enjoy what you do? Because people who listen a lot of people listen don't like the jobs. This is not a job. This is a lifestyle that you've been gifted, and you should never ever underestimate that. And equally, you should never be down with that. I'm really pleased that you can see I've got a smile from ear to ear.
Yeah, I was the Cheshire Cat smile.
But then Fleetwood Tuesday. So Bruce is going to Fleetwood tomorrow. I'm going to Colchester. We play them on Saturday.
Yeah.
So from here down to the Essex to watch them, and Bruce will get up to the northwest to watch Fleetwood, and we get ourselves ready for next week.
Can we just talk about a few individuals? Callum Cisse.
Wow,
brilliant, wasn't he?
Wow.
Just for a young man to be able to put in a performance like that on TV, on the radio, against League One opposition. Why is he so good? What does he kind of bring so well to this side?
I don't know. I'd love for you to watch a documentary with him this week.
Well, I've seen some of the clips on social media of his.
What you've seen in that documentary is Callum Ceesay. He's just
fun.
It's funny because there's 3 people that get interviewed, me being one and Bruce being another, and his old coach, and every one of us has said that he's one of the nicest kids. I actually put him in my top 3 best players in relation to personality. Last year he was playing non-league football. He had 3 jobs. He's come here. He's now scored 5 goals with I think 4 or 5 assists. There was 10 goal involvements before Christmas. For a kid that's never played professional football, I think he's got an unbelievable future.
And it's that sort of that box to box, isn't it? I mean, he was everywhere. And I mean, you made the decision. I know he got that last minute goal last week to start him tonight as well, because you've clearly got confidence and faith in his abilities.
I made a decision last week because I thought the game on Saturday was going to be won in the second half. And there's a bit of fatigue that was starting to creep into certain aspects of our players, so I had to rotate the team in a way that I felt we were comfortable moving forward. And then again we had the game on Tuesday. I have to, the next game's always the important one, but I think when you've got a good squad that gives you 1%, you can look at the next game, and sometimes I have to manage my squad a little bit like that when I have the ability to rotate in certain situations. So we were he's just a wonderful cab. I've just seen on the TV. It might have come off Kelly and I, so unlucky.
Yeah, I know. We went big as well on his net. We can't see the replay here, so did it come off there?
I just heard then that they've given it to Kelly's given it to Callum. Okay. Trust me, if Kelly wouldn't have scored, he would not have given it to Callum.
And I mean, on Kelly as well, another brilliant performance from him. I mean, all of them. We could go through. I mean, we could be here till we're not going to keep you much longer, but like it was to a man, wasn't it? That's why it's kind of like trying to pick out individuals, but all of them were superb.
Yeah, and we're working so hard behind the scenes as well to strengthen this team in January. We're only a few weeks with the window reopening. We need to be stronger. I don't want to stop here. I want to be in the league above. I want to be in the Championship. A lot of my career, that's where it's been, and I miss that. I really do. We've got to aim for this. We need to, and we have to have these conversations because this team needs that now. We know we've got so much quality, we've got so many good people, we've got fantastic owners, and I know they're working around the clock to support what we're trying to do in the January window as well.
And just finally on the fans, I mean, they were staying right to the end. Yeah. It was great to see that connection that they've got with the players.
But we've tried to build that. We have. Yeah. Do you know what, I want to mention one thing going off the question. Do you know what? When you've got a player who's played for Chelsea, Liverpool, Roma, AC Milan, Sampdoria, Sunderland, Swansea when he got promoted to the Premier League, he scored that goal and celebrated like he was at Wembley in the final. Does that not epitomise the type of team that we've got? Like Fabio Rini's playing front with Totti.
Yeah. He's lifted an FA Cup.
And then he goes and does that. And this is what Salford is. I know the documentary's called This Is Salford, but how he celebrated, that is Salford. And that's why we need we need more fans. But I think if we keep scoring goals, I think saying tonight won't hinder us.
Well, that's the thing. People are watching, people are listening, people have been watching.
Hopefully. We want to be better. We do. We're the only professional team in the Salford area. And the Salford City, and we want people to come on this ride with us. We can't do this just with money. We can't do this just with performances. Football is about fans, and that will never change. And we need this place rocking week in, week out, because that's the only thing I think we're missing. We're missing that atmosphere when things are getting banged behind you, and it put a bit of fear into the opposition, and we need to fill this place. We want to get more people in, and we do that. I think that will be the bit that could get us over the line.
Third round, any thoughts?
Well, do you know why I said to you last year, didn't I? What did I learn? Don't win the second round. What an idiot. Who don't want? Don't listen. Joe Cole's doing the draw. So what I don't want is Man City away.
And you know to blame if you do. Yeah, Joe Cole.
100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate your time. Go and celebrate. Carl Robinson on Total Sports after Salford City victorious into that third round against Leyton Orient 4-0. What do you make of it? What stood out for you there, Liam? There's lots to kind of get at.
Yeah, he's just the energy from him. Do you know what I mean? He's just said he's smiling from ear to ear because he's got probably an easy job tomorrow or whenever it's going to be to analyse that in terms of picking out, showing the group what they're about, what they can deliver, probably finding a couple of little moments that, listen, he's just said there, they restricted a Leyton Orient side, the top scorers in their division, above to one shot on target, and it, you know, maybe a shot from outside the area as well, but you know, barring that, very, very minimal. Really squeezed the life out of Leyton Orient, made them play a game that they didn't want to play. They turned up tonight to probably try and play and get through, and they ended up playing Salford City's game, and it wasn't a nice one for them. They come unstuck, and just the energy from him in terms of, you know, he wants to enjoy the moment, he wants to, you know, praise his players, he wants to, you know, he's not all about just the results, he wants to build the culture, he wants to build the actual...
Yeah, as you say, it's the buy-in that he has into this club, and it's that like genuine passion. I know it's an overused word, but it is, isn't it? It's passion, it's excitement, but it's also that want to. We heard him there at the end saying about getting more fans in here, about getting it rocking, about getting more nights like this, more days like this.
Yeah, and if they can show that, listen, it's a difficult way to play the way he plays, and from what I take out of his speech there was, you know, a lot of rotations are going to occur, and when rotations occur, players that haven't had a lot of minutes or regular minutes, it takes them a little bit of time to, you know, build those relationships on the pitch with, you know, players that they haven't probably, you know, been in the moment with. Obviously they're training with them every day, but sometimes when you tweak a couple of players here and there, it does unsettle a sort of momentum. But the way that he wants to play, where he's getting loads of pressure on the ball, where, you know, they're committed to duels, some of the sprint distances tonight for Salford would have been through the roof compared to, you know, Leyton Orient's. That's tough to do on a regular basis. So for him to be able to manage that with a squad, he's talked about recruitment in January and strengthening again. It's exactly what they should be looking to do. Any team should. I remember the Man United team that was winning everything all the time was constantly proactive in trying to bring in the next sort of line and to take it to the next step, or maybe finding different ways when they recruit different players to win games and stuff. You know, at the minute they're quite attacking football. You know, when they get onto a big pitch, they've got a lot of players that can probably handle the ball and maybe become a possession based, try and control the game. They've got everything from what I've seen tonight.
What do you think? Where obviously you want the quality players, don't you? Want more strength in depth. Where do you think they could? What do you think they'd be looking at in that sort of January transfer window? I mean, they've got quite a few players out injured, likes of Sam Ashley, Marco Rose, Jay Bird, Dan Chesters, Ben Woodburn as well. So, you know, they have got a few players that would be pushing and would add that strength in depth. What do you think?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I'll have to go back to a club like Stockport, which I've seen, you know, go through the leagues and potentially again maybe this year in the division that Carl wants to get in. He wants to, you know, get through. I mean, MK Dons is spending this year, and sort of the calibre of play that they've got in at MK Dons is probably what, you know, Salford will be looking at in terms of, you know, can we get players that, you know, maybe aren't getting the minutes in League One? Are there players available? There was an Ollie Norwood opportunity for Stockport to take in at there, and what a fantastic sort of bit of recruitment that was for them. You know, just a key sort of player. I mean, they've got some exciting talent here already. They've got a lot of youth. They've got some experience, but like you say, they're looking to grow. So at the moments that he knows this game was excellent tonight, there will be moments that he will probably say, oh, we need this kind of in this area of the pitch, or, you know, if we want to play this way against a certain style of opposition. That's what a manager will be doing. He'll be trying to sort of solve lots of different problems, because every single game he's going to play, he's going to be up against a different sort of style of opposition. And tonight the real success was a massive shutout against a team that's free scoring. But then again, the quality in what you're going to bring off the bench, it might not be what's starting, it might be the quality that what you're going to bring off the bench is similar to what you've got on there, and then that'll be a tough task for him to manage, you know, a group of maybe 20 players that can all play in your starting lineup in the top end League 2 sort of division, or, you know, pushing for League 1.
Yeah, well, that is the obviously attention onto the third round draw, and that takes place, but also as well back on the league, as he said, back into it on Tuesday nights as well. What a night it has been, though, to start your FA Cup coverage on Total Sport tomorrow. Bolton at Swindon, updates of Stockport, Wigan and Oldham, and then on Sunday, Maxfield FC, can they be in the draw? They go to Slough, but tonight is all about Salford City, who have dismantled League One Leyton Orient. They've thrashed them 4-0 on a night that Salford fans won't forget in a hurry, and Salford are into the hat for the third round. Here's how they did it on Total Sport.
Total Sport.
Action replay.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Grant picks the ball up centre circle, sends the ball down the left-hand channel onto Harris, who does really well to get there. Does Kadeem Harris up to the edge of the box, sends it across, and it's gone into the back of the net. And it's through the legs, I think, of Cahill, the goalkeeper. They were lurking there, was Danudo, and it's been turned in off the goalkeeper. Kadeem Harris left-footed, drilled the ball across the box, and it's gone into the back of the net. And Salford City have got the lead with just over 20 minutes played, and they deserve it. Salford 1, Leyton Orient 0. Across the box, Cisse nods it down to Monogo. Can't quite bring under control, he does now, and it's Cisse fires it. Oh, it's in to the bottom left-hand corner. What a goal that is by Callum Cisse, who wheels away in delight, being chased by his Salford City teammates. He hugs Ollie Turton as the rest of them eventually catch up with him. Callum Cisse, left-footed, found the corner of the goal. Salford City, is that the goal that sends them again into the third round of the FA Cup? It's Salford City 2, Leyton Orient 0. And Mai cuts inside, and it falls to George Grant, who fires an effort straight at the goalkeeper. Ball spills loose, Barini's on it. Fabio Barini sends Salford City into the FA Cup third round for the second consecutive year. They have overcome League One opposition again as he punches his fist. He looks at the Salford fans with delight. The players go across and hug the man that has sent them into that round. A consummate performance from the Ammies. It's Salford City 3, Leyton Orient 0. Effort fired in on goal, and this could be Kelly Amaya then, who sent free. Kelly Amaya, Salford 3-0 up. Is it for? It is for Salford City. A famous night at the Peninsula Stadium. They are into the FA Cup third round in absolute style, as Kelly Amaya spirals and does the aeroplane in front of the Salford City fans celebrating, who come down to the advertising hoardings to high-five their man. That is Salford City 4, that is Leyton Orient 0.
Action replay.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
play BBC Radio Manchester,
and on your radio.
The sound of Manchester is
BBC Radio Manchester.
At 10 with the BBC News, I'm Talat Farooqawar. The draw for the 2026 Men's Football World Cup has taken place in Washington, pitting joint hosts Mexico against South Africa in the opening match. The 48-team tournament sees Scotland drawn in Group C with Brazil, Morocco and Haiti, while England will face Croatia, Panama and Ghana in Group L. The England manager, Thomas Tuchel, has this to say about the challenges his squad will face when playing in varied conditions.
It doesn't make it any easier when it comes again to play in the heat and fight against the humidity and altitude and different time zones. But
a rape victim says the criminal justice system left her unheard and ignored. After she waited more than 8 years to see her attacker jailed, the woman, who can't be named for legal reasons, was stalked by her attacker during the years when he remained at large, and she suffered a breakdown. She's spoken to the BBC. Her words are voiced by an actor.
It's been completely crushing, completely emotionally damaging, fraught, desperate in many ways. There's nothing fair in making a victim endure years of uncertainty, lack of care, lack of follow-up, lack of understanding.
Summing us up have begun in a trial of two men accused of starting a house fire in Bradford which killed a mother and her 3 children. The prosecutions accused one of the men, Shiraz Ali, of wanting to inflict maximum pain on Antonia Goeth, the sister of the dead woman, after the breakdown of their relationship. Ali and co-accused Caleb Sunderland deny murder. The government has unveiled plans to cut the number of children in poverty by more than 500,000 by 2030. The strategy includes a £3 billion move to scrap 2-child benefit cap and widen the rollout of free school meals. Netflix has agreed to take over the studios and streaming business of Warner Bros. Discovery for around £54 billion. It saw off rival bids from media giants Comcast and Paramount. Professor Paul Hardart from New York University's Stern School of Business says the deal heralds a big change in the media landscape.
The creative community, right, having fewer buyers is ultimately not good for diverse views and storytelling, but in many ways, I think what this is going to do, it is a tectonic shift. It's going to have a sort of large impact on the companies that didn't get it.
The distinctive green tunic worn by Will Ferrell in the movie Elf is going up for auction tomorrow. It's part of a huge sale of movie mementos, including props and costumes from films like Star Wars, Harry Potter and Indiana Jones. The auction being run by film memorabilia specialist Prop Store, and if you fancy getting your hands on the Elf costume, you'll need to dig deep into your pockets. It's expected to fetch around up to £200,000. There's more of these stories on BBC Sounds and BBC Online. You're up to date. It's 3 minutes past 10.